The wife just updated and said that he's actually doing better, so he might actually make it.
He's doing better. All right, let's do this countdown. I fucked it up. We just started live already. Those of you watching, your mom says hi. I'm playing. That's a hell of a way to start it. And no happy New Year's, nothing. Just fuck it, right? Your mom says hi. What's going on, you all? This is Trigger with Instructor Mike and friends. I'm Instructor Mike. And you, of course, you know John, Marquise, and our wonderful guest, Todd Fossey. That's that right?
Yep, you got it.
Got that shit wrong. All right. Everybody feel free to introduce yourself. Welcome back. Happy fucking New Year, 2022. Make this shit about you. Go, guys.
John with Guardian Concepts, based out of Bourbonnais, Illinois, so just a little bit south of Chicago. We do concealed carry training, advanced concealed carry training, so kind of obviously break it down for everyone. We also host other trainings, one being tactical emergency casualty care, which our next class for that is February 6th. And then we are going to be hosting a new class with our new speaker that is present this evening. We're hosting a seminar with Todd Fossey, Lethal Encounters for the Armed Defenders. That'll be a full day class where he's going to come down and teach some weapons-based combatives based around the concealed carry holder. Oh, yeah. We preach about training. Can't nobody say we don't. So now here is your chance to learn a paradigm that is I can't even put a word to it without saying other than saying it's just a top-notch paradigm. And yeah, so I can't wait to host that class with Todd and hope to see everyone out there. Marquise, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hi, everybody. My name is Marquise Miranda. I'm with P6 Firearms Training. We do all the concealed carry classes, knife training, as well as advanced training with the firearms, such as pistols, rifles, shotguns. We do all that good stuff as well. Also, we will be doing a RSO course for those who are interested in becoming RSOs, whether it be an indoor, outdoor range. January 22nd at Concealed Carry Institute out in Matson. So, I'll put out information later and hope to see you guys there.
Outstanding. Those of you who are watching. Oh, Angela.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Rona would do that
Don't
too.
Don't come for me.
Not at all. Rona do that. Todd, go ahead.
Oh, well, first of all, thanks a lot for having me on, you guys. I really appreciate it. Wasn't something that I was planning on doing tonight. We usually have classes on Wednesday night here at IDS. We call IDS Lab Works, but we've got some bad weather going on here. It's about 20 below zero here, and it's snowing out, and the road conditions are pretty bad. So it worked out that I could just hop on with you guys. So huge honor to be here. Thanks a lot for having me on. I hate talking about myself, my least favorite thing about coming on shows like this, but hey, that's what you're asking me to do, so fuck it, I'll do it, right? I'm the founder and chief instructor of Integrative Defense Strategies, and we focus on full spectrum training that is specifically designed for citizen defenders. It isn't really arbitrary training. Our training is really based on what the data suggests that how we should be prioritizing our training. And to put it simply, while we do the full spectrum of training, primary focus happens from within a 6-foot circle. Because 70% of defensive shootings and violent encounters happen inside of a 6-foot circle. And a third of those happen at contact distance. So that's where we specialize because we feel as though there's a big hole in the training community, and we feel like time really needs to be spent in that specific area.
Outstanding. Angela, as much as you could say.
Are we just introducing ourselves?
Yeah, we're back at it again.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think everybody knows me, except for Todd. Hi, Todd.
Hi, Angela.
My name is Angela. I am a professional stuntwoman. Right now, I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm also a firearms instructor and got the Rona.
That's
I mean,
it.
you know, that's my only update as of right now.
You gotta keep that Omarion over there.
I know, right?
She got the damn flu. Everybody can. What the
Hey,
hell?
there is a new strain. Hey, there is a new strain that came out today. It's called
The
the
who?
Rona. I'm
What?
dead serious. I'm not lying. Look it up.
It's called the what?
Flu Rona.
Yeah, it's a combination of the flu and corona. Yeah.
So this is what I need is a tall glass of get the fuck out of here, dude. Stop it. Stop it.
Seriously.
Like, I need tall glasses of that. Let me sip up. What you sipping on, man? Get the fuck out of here.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yep. Flu Rona.
Yeah.
Right. And how do you test that since PCR testing doesn't work?
Right. That sounds like a bunch of crap.
Well, mine
Sounds
I
like a
actually
Bobby
took
Brown
the
song.
test when I took my little at-home test. So it felt like a really light flu.
Yeah.
And then it was like yesterday I was 100% great, and then today I just have stuffy head. It's like the weirdest shit ever.
Well, I'm glad you're still around. I'm glad you're fighting it because obviously you're resting and taking meds like an adult.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know I'll be good, but yeah.
All right. Yes. So yeah, let's dive into it. Let's dive into it. Because often what we end up doing is pulling from this and putting on other clips and stuff like that. So let's just go on ahead and dive into the conversation. So I had a chance to discuss with Katie and a couple of other instructors: shoot to kill or shoot to stop the deadly threat. What are your thoughts on that, guys? Before I throw out what I'm. I mean, obviously we know the first one is not. Something.
So I mean, yeah, by legal standards, we have to shoot to stop the threat. I mean, if you want to play the legal game, but that's what we do. We have to shoot to stop until the threat is stopped. That could be 1 round, that could be 4 rounds, that could be 10 rounds. It's going to vary, obviously, based on the content of the situation.
Okay.
Obviously, whether person's drug induced, you know what I mean, or do they have obviously drugs in their system? What drugs do they have? Their state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's a lot of other context that goes into it. You know what I mean? Yeah, obviously we have to shoot to stop the threat, but do we really need to shoot? You know what I mean? Have we identified the reason that we have to shoot? Have we made that threat assessment that we have to pull our firearm and shoot? Or was there another avenue where we didn't have to shoot? You know what I mean? Was it a dementia patient that broke into your house just because that's where they knew that was their house when they were a child?
Okay.
Was it your 16-year-old kid who snuck out that night and made a bump in the night and you didn't do your freaking, you know what I mean, go out and get low light training, you know what I mean? So you come around the corner with a flashlight, they scare the fuck out of you, you pull the trigger. Now you shot your kid.
Okay. You're adding a lot of contextual issues to the
and then there is a lot of contextual.
language.
I mean,
Of course.
that's why it's hard to say. Yeah, if you want to just be basic,
Yeah.
we have to shoot to stop the threat.
Okay. Marquise.
I mean, let's keep it 100. Shoot to stop the threat. I
Okay.
mean, we could throw a bunch of context into it, but it still goes back to the one factor: threat or non-threat,
Okay.
trigger pull or not trigger pull.
Okay.
If I'm pulling this trigger, I better be able to articulate or understand that my mental, physical, all that good stuff is being threatened with a life or death or serious bodily harm situation. But again, assessing the situation in 0.3 seconds is what we do. It's what you have to do. You only got 0.3 seconds to articulate or even understand if it's a threat.
Well,
Now,
to go through your OODA loop process.
You gotta go through that OODA loop, or even the fact of, hell, am I concealed? Am I not concealed? Am I open carry for some ungodly reason? Am I waking up in the middle of the night groggy with some cold in my eyes? Again, context and everything else. As long as you can articulate that it's a threat, that's what I want to stick with. I mean, no one should be shooting to kill unless you got some Marilyn Manson in your blood.
Okay.
Is that the killer, Marilyn Manson? Or is that the singer?
That's the singer. Yeah.
That's the singer.
Yeah.
Charlie Manson.
Think about Charlie Manson.
Charlie
Charlie Manson. Thank you.
They could be the same. You never
Yeah,
know. They could be cousins. Who knows? Todd.
Yeah. like both John and Marquise were saying, it really comes down to the totality of the circumstance. And we obviously could tumble down the rabbit hole forever here, even on the legal side of things, right? Literally, we could tumble down that rabbit hole forever. And what those legalities are that are going to govern what your use of force is going to be determined based on where you're at the time, right? Like what jurisdiction are you in at the time? But generally speaking, as they've already mentioned, first you should be in immediate fear of death or great bodily harm. We could tumble down the rabbit hole forever just on that, right? You have to be an unwilling participant in that conflict. You can't be a willing participant. You can't have escalated. That's another general legal rule of thumb. Half of the states, if you have a reasonable means of retreat, you have to, and you can articulate that you had a reasonable means of retreat, then you have to retreat legally as long as it's reasonable. And then there can be no lesser force option that you could have used. The other language that we could use legally would be, we're shooting until we all have altered their behavior, right? Stop the threat or altered their behavior. And so I think that's a really good, I think when we're talking about a question like this, it really has to be addressed in generalizations because it comes down to the totality of the circumstance.
Okay.
Absolutely, because one round could turn them around and send them running.
Okay, hold on. Angela, what are your thoughts?
So are we going down the rabbit hole of the verbiage here, the exact?
Yes. And go ahead.
Well, okay. So I feel like since I was on your live the other day, I feel like I already know where you're going.
You know where I'm going.
So I'm going to not do a spoiler, and I'm gonna go ahead and jump in with the rest of the fellas, because the way I've always taught up until the other day when I was enlightened by you, I've always kind of taught to neutralize the threat that's coming at you. If it's gonna be me or you, I'm going home. But yeah, context is a huge issue. Which, like even the movie set stuff. So like all that stuff, it all comes into play. So yeah, verbiage and context.
Okay. So here's part of the thing that I've been paying attention to. I've been paying attention to the trials of Kyle Rittenhouse, paying attention to the trials of Gregory and Travis McMichael, paying attention to even the trials of Kim Potter. And it's fortunate that we are able to view those things because some time ago, cameras, depending on a jurisdiction, whether they're in courtrooms, we would often hear of another person's interpretation of the legal process and what occurred in that. And then we would have to yield ourselves to whatever their interpretation and whatever their teachings of that process is. But I am of the opinion that part of the reason why juries may not be getting the language that we have been dropping for the most part, and those are other contextual issues in that too, is because of how things are defined. Typically, there are societal definitions, cultural definitions, family definitions, what you learn in your family, and then your subjective definitions based upon your education, experience, habits, and motivation, things of that nature. And when we look at those things, we say shoot to kill or shoot to stop the deadly threat. And we've been taught to say that because shoot to stop the deadly threat just sounds less threatening, because if you look at the statistics, right, even though people fear guns, the statistics, even if you look at heyjackass.com, the statistics don't even match up to the fact that, or the belief that every person gets shot dies, even if they get shot in the area that we train to shoot them in, which is the torso. You got over 800 people, approximately 700 people shot and killed versus over 3,700 people shot and wounded. And that's just in Chicago in 2021 alone. So let's get all of that fat out, and so let's look at the meat. So let's play word association, right? Stop plus gun equals what? Go impulsively. What do you think?
Dead.
Yeah.
Stop plus what?
Stop plus gun equals what?
Yeah.
I would say
Hold
stop up the threat.
Don't think about you. Get out of your mind and get into the mind of a juror.
Oh.
See, the thing is, if
Yeah.
we look at it, right, society, culture, family, you, when you're a part of the gun culture, when you're a part of the military culture, when you're a part of law enforcement, we don't see it the way they see it. John C. Maxwell even said it best. Everyone communicates, you connect. So if we are not connecting with the triers of fact, being the jury, and we're using our language, it's not connecting, because in their mind, stop plus gun equals what?
Right. Well, they've
Kill.
been systematically propagandized over several decades to have having a specific association to even the topic of firearm. When we're looking at small children who are cutting or who are biting, right, their Pop-Tarts at school in the shape of a gun, are being suspended or expelled from school for even using the word gun or anything like that. There's a psychological phenomenon that this is associated with, where people will assign human characteristics to inanimate objects, right? And it's totally and completely irrational, because their minds have been captured around this particular topic. And so what we're talking about from a professional point of view is really, we're looking at this from a morally objective point of view, right? Through the eyes of the law, a dispassionate point of view through the eyes of the law, But I think you're making a really great point. They aren't. They're looking at it through a bias, because they've been trained through the media, and they've been trained through Hollywood, and they've been trained through video games to believe a specific thing. I mean, Eric Holder himself said it. You can see the video himself saying, Eric Holder, the former attorney general, said, we need to brainwash the public to think differently about guns. And he said, I'm not talking about this in a small way. We need to dump bunches of money into getting high volume of repetition, into brainwashing them to look at guns in a new way. And I think that sums it all up.
And so in that, I would like to introduce maybe just another way of saying words, because we have to understand that words have power based upon their use and context, right? And if they don't use the word the way that we are trying to communicate the word, it is a disconnect. So did we shoot to kill? Did we shoot to stop the deadly threat? Or did we shoot them or act to motivate them to modify their deadly behavior? And Todd, you hit on it. You were the closest person to hit on it, because the last thing you said in that description was behavior. Because if you think about that word play, and I want you to play devil's advocate, but if you think about that word play, in no way can you spin motivate to be deadly. In no way can you spin a modification to be deadly. And who doesn't understand behavioral modification?
Hey, Mike, are you a preacher, bro?
I don't know.
Are you a preacher? Because you should be. If you're not, you need a pulpit, my friend. And I will be there.
I appreciate it.
Now, I was with you till you said that it can't be manipulated.
Okay, go. Let's play it.
First of all, in this day and age, everything can be manipulated.
Okay, so manipulate it. Play devil's advocate.
Okay, so you're saying that you were shooting to modify their behavior by killing them.
Hold on.
Here we go. Just to kill them.
Here we go. Let's play what the jury may do when they go into the jury room. I am almost willing to bet that there is a dictionary somewhere around. Would we agree on that in some way, shape, form, or fashion?
I haven't been on jury duty.
That's okay. Let's play that ball. Here we go. Modify. You know I'm about to go there, right? Modify. Let me see if I can kind of zoom this up a little bit. Here we go. When you look at modify says nowhere in there anything about death. Can you all see this? Kind of barely. I'm trying to. Oh, okay. Here we go. Modify, a verb, right? Third person present, obviously. Make partial or minor changes to something, typically as to improve it or make it less extreme. I ain't make that shit up. The dictionary is right there. Biology, transform a structure from its original anatomical form during development or evolution, right? So if I am shooting them or acting to motivate, right? If you look at the definition of motivation, it's the biological, emotional, social, and cognitive force that activates behavior.
Right. So you're biologically stopping them from attacking you by killing them.
Here we go. I'm glad you asked that question. Keep going.
You're transforming their original anatomical form from living to dead.
Okay. And is that your opinion?
You're restricting their ability to live.
Okay. Keep going.
So again,
I'll let you have these. Keep going.
That's what I'm telling you. We could use antonyms, a thesaurus, and a dictionary. It don't matter. The group of people who are sitting in that room are still going to draw their conclusions and make up stuff in their own head.
Sure.
So I mean, I could be. So I feel you, but guess what? Being a wordsmith is still you using a lot of words to say the simplest of things.
Yeah, but see, I think what we're doing is we're trying to defend the use of a term because of how long we've been taught that term. And that's the antithesis of trying to understand. So let's look at some of these questions here, right? If you have to shoot, how many shots fired does it take to motivate that person to modify their behavior? Go.
It's unknown. That's unknown.
That's not a question.
There's too many variables involved in that.
Yeah, that's an assumption.
In the minds of a jury, more than one shot is too many.
Absolutely. Right?
Probably. Unless they're educated. And depending on what expert witnesses they are paid to bring in to spin, right? To spin force science into whoever the fuck they want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. There's still too much context with it. You know what I mean?
And so I think, from where I stand right now, like I think both sides of this argument that you guys are having right now, I think has value because what I believe anyway, what we're seeing happen in the world today, I think I could probably wage a pretty good argument that they're changing the meaning of words.
Mm-hmm.
There is a cultural revolution that is happening right now and a color revolution that is happening that fundamentally wants to change our culture. So they're taking words and making it mean something else, right? For example, Antifa means what? Anti-fascist, but all of the things that they're doing fall under the core tenets of fascism.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So no matter how we use words, it's going to come down to my opinion, how soulless is that prosecutor?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Now, you have question if you have to shoot, how many shots fired? Which way is the gun pointed? Is it pointed up? Is it pointed towards the threat? Is it pointed past the threat? Is it pointed towards the ground?
But I think we're distracting from the word stop.
The word stop ain't on the screen.
Well, hold on. No. I'm just saying. The word stop. So stop plus gun equals death. Like no one cannot argue. You can't argue that in the mind of someone who hates guns. Because what's the ultimate stop with a gun?
What if the person on the jury? What if the person didn't shoot and the gun stopped them?
I don't know how that relates because now
you point a gun at somebody and they stopped what they're doing.
But now,
that also comes down to where's your muzzle pointed,
right?
In what jurisdiction are you in that says how can you use that firearm? Can you use that firearm legally as a deterrent? And is there even a law, or is it going to come down to whatever the prejudice is of the prosecutor?
Right. So then we could drop the word shoot and amend it to act, whether it be act or shoot. It's an action. What's the intent? To motivate them to modify their deadly threatening behavior. It's better than saying shoot to stop the deadly threat, because in the mind of a jury, if they did die, which we contextually know that just because, here we go, let's continue the questions. Right? How many times did you shoot, if you could accurately recall? Were they hit? Was it from the bullets from your firearm that they were hit? Because if other people were shooting and that person died, you would need a medical examiner to be able to pull that evidence from their body, from the decedent's body. How many times were they hit, right? Where were they hit? What was hit? What motivated them to modify their deadly behavior? You see what I'm going with this? All these contextual issues, but then in all these contextual issues, we use the word stop as the answer. We shot to stop the deadly threat in the minds of a jury is just the same thing as saying shoot to kill. I yield.
I still
Take yourself out your trained mind. I gotta tell you that because that's the hardest thing for us to do is to be empathetic towards the triers of fact.
Well, and that's where I get what you're saying, Mike. We got to evolve as trainers to obviously the society we live in. So I can see where you're saying, you know what I mean? Obviously, we want to give the best training we can for our students. And in the current cultural climate that we live in most, I can't say in most states, in a lot of states, depending on your states, guns are bad. And then you look at it from, again, you can look at it from political standpoint, ethical standpoint, religious standpoint, whatever standpoint you want to look at it as, is that, yes, the basic synopsis when you involve a gun is that somebody got shot and they died. And in a jury standpoint, if I break my mindset down to the normal juror, and again, there's going to be jurors from all sides, all walks of life, for gun, against gun, you know what I mean, pro-religion, anti-religion, whatever the case may be. You break it down just to the basics of, again, gun, person, death.
What did the prosecutor say in the Rittenhouse case? Didn't he say something like, if you bring a gun to the fight, then you forfeited your right to self-defense? Didn't he say something like that?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Even the gun to the fight, in the Rittenhouse case, Binger kept using the word stop. Shoot to kill. And Rittenhouse said, no, I shot to stop the deadly threat. Now, granted, the judge was not going to, I almost believe that if the jury would have found Rittenhouse guilty, I almost believe that the judge would have set aside the verdict and protected Rittenhouse. I believe that because the judge was doing a great job protecting the rights of the defendant as opposed to other people where they don't get such a break in certain cases. But we got to be careful about the words that we use because to the mind of a jury, that's the one thing that I saw that was synonymous with those cases and other cases that I went back and looked at them. You could go research them on court TV. We say shoot to stop the deadly threat. Well, if they died in the mind of a jury, a juror, the ultimate stop was shit. You stopped the fuck out of them. You killed them. Yes, so I agree. You shot to stop the deadly threat. It worked. Instead of I shot or activate or shot and acted to motivate them to modify their deadly behavior. Why do I say motivate? Let's go into this. And I got it. I want to hear you, Marquise. I swear I do. Okay? Because that's the hardest thing. I had to struggle with it too because I have been saying the same language for a long time. Think about a motivational speaker. Right? In the context, we hear motivational speakers in the gun culture, in society, in all cultures. There is a motivational speaker. And that person can speak really well and motivate the hell out of you. But who has to do the work? You do. So I am motivating you to modify your deadly behavior. Only you can act that can show that the motivation worked. And if you didn't act, I got to motivate you some more.
So in my case, then, why are we saying I shot to do all this motivation and stuff like that? Why not I point the gun to motivate them? And when the motivation didn't work, their ass got shot.
I'm not going to say all that.
Because in Illinois, you can't pull your gun, you can't brandish your gun.
What? I don't know.
So, okay, so we can't brandish our
gun. You can't pull your gun unless you're in fear of your life.
Right. So I'm not motivating no one to do anything when I pull this trigger.
Because here's this. See, a lot of times it's hard for us to separate. And here's this. This is where my anger management specialist comes in. This is where my crisis intervention, nonviolent crisis intervention instructor comes in. And that's the terms that the jury understands, right? Because if we keep using language that suggest that we want to terminate the life, that's not helping our cause, right? Because even, what did you hear? Let's just say Hollywood, right? All right, SWAT is not a life-taking organization. It's a life-saving. And if you think about it, right, the most deadliest elements on the police department in terms of training and ability and who trains all the time and their accuracy is the SWAT team. But how many lives do they take versus undertrained police officers on the streets? Does that make sense? And so, what is the one thing that the SWAT team would rather do? Talk you out. That's why they have hostage negotiators, to do the brain work. That's what I'm trying to introduce here. Because the motivation, right?
All right. So, do you mind if I interject here?
Yes, please go ahead.
And I don't want to. I hope I don't want to sound like I'm playing any kind of a one-up game, because I'm no better than anybody else in this panel. But I just want to educate the audience a little bit. You know, I have a background as a psychotherapist. I lectured at medical schools for 15 years. So I understand what instructor Mike is talking about here. I'm also a certified force science analyst. Okay. And I have a background in neuropsychology. Okay. And human performance. And I think it's, I think that it's, well, a couple of things. I think that it's important that the public begin to be educated on the importance of the realities of human performance under extreme stress in compressed time. They don't have a realistic expectation of human performance under those conditions, which are almost impossible. What Rittenhouse did was, if you think about his performance, it was fucking extraordinary. It really was. And in terms of how he used the appropriate level of force at the appropriate time, is unfucking believable. You know, hats off to him. But the other side of it is, you know, because of my background in psychology, I also understand there's all kinds of psychology going on here, right? I also understand the psychology of the antisocial behavior. I understand the psychology of the psychopath. I understand the psychology of the sociopath. I understand the psychology of the malignant narcissist. And I know that they don't have empathy. Okay, so I think that there's a huge difference when we're talking about de-escalation and because we need to, and deterrence. There's a difference between de-escalation and deterrence, because if we're not careful, right, if we're talking about dog psychology and the rule of the jungle, right, if you are going to attempt de-escalation to a psychopath, they're only going to perceive that as weakness. And now you're going to attract even more aggression. Mm-hmm. So the question is, do you understand the difference between de-escalation and deterrence? Deterrence means that you're going to psychologically motivate that person to decide that they're about to make a wrong decision. You're letting them know that they're about to bite into something that they can't fucking chew. You don't want to go any farther than that. Try de-escalation as a prison guard, and they'll tell you, no, you'll get fucking eaten alive. You need to understand how to deter that threat, not how to de-escalate that threat. In my view,
you're right.
In my view, de-escalation tends to be most effective when there's a conflict. You spilled the guy's beer. There was a fender bender. He thinks you're hitting on your girl, but you're not. You're like, I'm going to practice some de-escalation here. But if someone has already made up their mind that they're going to use violence against you for whatever their reasoning is, your attempts at de-escalation can only create more violence. Mm-hmm. But there are no absolute answers to contextually dependent questions.
Right. And when you're talking about that type of stuff, you talk about antisocial violence versus asocial violence. Mm-hmm. You talk about a person who's running a mouth, antisocial, I'm going to knock your ass out, blah, 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 blah. And asocial.
It's actually the other way around. If the antisocial is this and the asocial is the person who's talking shit. Just so you know, I don't mean to be contrary.
No, you're fine.
For a very long period of time then.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
Here, no need to apologize, because we are all instructor students.
Amen.
Right? So we all are learning from each other. I love it.
Amen.
So let me provide a moment of clarity. Did anybody think that I was talking negotiation, even though I said they have negotiators? Did anybody think I was talking withholding the use of deadly force to talk?
No.
That's not what I was saying. I was talking about the rhetoric, so that the absent-minded, untrained person can relate to our intentions through our actions. That's all that I'm.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well,
all.
yeah, because based off of obviously again a court of law. Because again, we're gonna go to court if we have to pull our gun and shoot. We're going to court, or we're getting arrested at least. You know what I mean? If for some reason charges are dropped, which in Illinois probably is not going to
Hell
happen.
no.
In some states, it very well could happen, but in Illinois, it will not happen. You will go to court. You will see trial. Being able to obviously speak to the jurors' mentality, and it's not saying that they're stupid, but it's one of those things where there's a difference between stupid and ignorant being that they don't understand. You know what I mean? They may not have the level of training or knowledge base. So speaking to their knowledge base, their competency level, you know what I mean, to understand what it is that you did. And it wasn't anything you were doing in a derogatory form. You were essentially trying to make them stop what they were doing. Essentially, that's what you're trying to do.
But I don't. But see, and I get what you're saying with the word stop. I just because
I get it. But the basic intent is whether we're modifying their behavior to stop whatever deadly behavior they're doing. Essentially, either way, we're from an instructor standpoint, we're stopping.
Right.
From a legal standpoint, modify sounds a lot nicer.
That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's it. Right. Because here we go. How many? Okay. Here's even a better question. Jury of your peers. Are we probably going to ever have a jury of our peers? Hell no. They are not going to put.
There may be one.
Right. There we go. They're not going to put Second Amendment folks who understand that on the jury. They're not going to put former cops, former military on the jury. And if they do get in, the person probably lied on their form and hit it one up.
You know what's interesting? You know what's interesting about that?
Sure.
I had a case. I had someone I haven't taught CCW classes for a long time, but I used to, right? And I had a case where a student that I had in one of my classes, large class, happened to be in a shooting, and I got grilled. I got raked over the coals by his defense lawyers, right? They tried to basically turn the shit on me, but then once they saw, my syllabus, they're like, well, shit, we can't put this guy in the stand. He's going to destroy our case. But here's what was interesting. They asked me some questions, and they asked me, if you were to pick jurors, who do you think would be harder on my client? Would anti-Second Amendment people or Second Amendment people be harder on my client? And I said, I tell you what, Second Amendment people would be harder on your client because we hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Correct.
And I think what's interesting from my view, what's interesting in my view is what's happening now is we're seeing political railroading, where it doesn't matter how much evidence there is. Doesn't matter how empirical, how hard, ironclad the evidence is. People have such a bias now that it doesn't matter. That person's not on my team. They don't share my belief system. So I'm going to burn them at the stake, regardless of what the evidence is. So I think you bring up a really interesting point, Mike, because as instructors, I believe we need to look at this from multiple points of view. We need to look at it from our point of view, from the professional's point of view. We need to look at it from the point of view of the prosecutor, from the judge, and from the jury, but also from that person who wants to make a point, regardless of whatever justice is served or unserved. It's so to communicate, as you're saying, to communicate from all of those points of view might be a good approach.
Yeah. Jacob, what's going on? I thought you were comatose for a minute. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Mike? Hey, man, I just jumped in to say Happy New Year to you guys, and good seeing everybody again. John, Marquise, everybody. I probably ain't gonna be on very long. I got a sick kid.
Sure.
Lots happened, man. Since I saw you guys last, there's been a lot of shit going on. So I just want to jump in and say hi real quick. I'll try to catch the video, sometime tomorrow maybe.
Yes.
Anyway, I just want to jump in and say Happy New Year, you guys. Stay safe up there.
You guys, you too, man.
Hey, real quick, what definition are y'all using for antisocial and asocial? Because what I'm seeing and what I've always practiced is antisocial is the loud behavior, and asocial isn't. So where are y'all getting your definition from?
So I'm getting my definition from antisocial personality disorders. Psychopaths, sociopaths, malignant narcissists, and Machiavellianists. Those are antisocial personality disorders. Those are people that are void of empathy and they lack any type of regret over whatever they do.
But typically be talked out of a situation, no?
Antisocial personality disorders.
Right, because okay, and again, I'm looking at definitions. I've always read that antisocial people are literally the loud, boisterous, wouldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight type individuals who like to attract attention to themselves versus asocial. They don't talk much and just do what they got to do.
There's different types of antisocials, even within there's different categories, even within narcissists, right? There's some narcissists that are the overt narcissists, the overt extroverted social butterfly narcissists that want to attract attention themselves, but there are also covert narcissists. So there's subcategories within each of these. But typically speaking, the antisocial personality disorder is the person that's void of empathy.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Yep, you're right.
What is it?
Asocial is the one that isn't following social norms, but they still need to be capable of empathy.
Now, what Todd is Brian, what's going on, buddy?
Brian Eastridge in the house.
Brian. So here we go. What Todd was saying is, I think when you're looking at antisocial and asocial as the term versus the personality disorder. So when you're using antisocial and asocial, that's when it flips. But when you get to the personality disorder, it flips back, which is fucking weird. It's like,
Are you talking about my ex-wife or what?
That's why I was kind of stuck. Like, wait a minute. So you talk about the personalities, not the behaviors. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, because it's the psychiatry versus just the definition of the term without the application of the disorder within that term.
It's right. It shouldn't be backward, but it is.
Should not. No.
Yeah, that's what threw me off because I'm like, man, I've been teaching wrong for so many years. That's why I had to look it up. You see, I had to Google because I was like, hey, wait a minute now. Is the bar fight dude? Is the motherfucker who'll cut your throat? That's what threw me off. Like,
you're in a Webster versus a DSM.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, fair enough. It's fair enough.
There you go.
What about BDSM? What?
DSM.
No!
Oh.
What's up, Seth and William? What's up, guys? I was waiting for you guys to come back in. Sure. All right. So you know what? Hey, Brian, I don't know how much of the conversation you caught. Do your thing. Say I was gonna.
Hey, Todd Fossey. Been a minute.
Brian, nice to see you.
Yeah. We actually met at the Guardian Conference in Oklahoma City.
So I got two of you guys that were at Guardian Conference. Yeah, good to see you again.
Well, Brian was teaching down there, Todd. Yeah, he was down there teaching.
Eastridge, Brian Eastridge. Sorry, I just put it together.
Yes, he was doing his Mythbusters class.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
good to see you. We've had a little bit of interaction online.
Yeah, you were up at the clubhouse, like beating people up or something. So,
speaking of Mythbusters, didn't Mike say he has some videos tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys are full of
shit.
shit.
We do.
Let's
let Brian introduce himself because obviously I know we have some new people around it. Obviously,
let's see. My name's Brian, and I'm a wrong meeting. Sorry,
hey Brian.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm a full-time cop, entrepreneur, firearms instructor, gun nerd, guitar nerd, watch nerd. That's about it.
That's it.
EDC Belt Co.
There's that. Yeah, that would be the entrepreneurial side. Yeah.
Plug that. Yeah, plug that.
There is let's see. We got a training website being built right now, finally, so that are we gonna watch this clown?
Yeah. We are
not that video. Not that video, dude.
Oh my god, dude. That
we
dude.
Watch that video.
Wait. He's from up in you all's area, isn't he?
No, Detroit.
Okay.
Detroit,
well, no, Midwest. So yeah, sure.
Nah, I ain't claiming that shit.
I ain't claiming either shit.
Nah, he up there. He towards the Great Lakes area. Nah, dude, I ain't not. Nah, bro, we good.
Oh,
I'm not claiming that.
The best thing that dude could do is just own it and just totally turn it into a master kin routine.
He did
that shit.
Routine.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he did. But
he also said that if Chris Kyle would have taken his training, he would still be alive today.
That's a bold statement. How'd that
Bro.
work out?
Bold statement. I'm trying to figure out how no one got at this man's eye yet.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't
Because
show up
again,
to SHOT Show because there's a lot of them dudes.
Earlier, we all hold ourselves to a way higher standard, and we can call bullshit when we fucking see it.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, when you said Mythbusters, I was like, ding, fries are done.
Yeah, that's one of Brian's bread and butters, man. And that class is phenomenal. I highly recommend that class.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal class as well.
Yeah, fries are done. That dude, I'm sorry. Like, I could be called a hater. I could be called whatever you want to call me on this one. But I thought Mike was going to put up the other video, which was him explaining why he got shot 4 times in a training.
I am. I got that.
No, he is.
It's on
He's
cue.
going to do both of them.
Yeah. I'm going to show. Matter of fact, fuck it.
Let's go ahead. Roll.
Let's do it. Let's
roll that beautiful beam footage.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Shit.
How did he increase your survivability?
Here we go. All right, here we go.
So you can try to back up. Wait. Great. Right now, we want to address a recently released viral video. And this video is so silly. This individual came to our school separately with another person. They're both jiu-jitsu students. One was honest and said he was, and the other one acted like he wasn't, said he was an engineer. And he was very timid and has never studied martial arts before. And I have no idea why he does that, because 9 out of 10 people that come to our facility are either an instructor from another martial art, or a competitor, or have taken martial arts. They love our training. So anyway, the other individual was honest. He did resist some, and he found out that that does not work out well without getting hurt. But this individual tried to resist right before this gun disarm, and his whimpering and holding his wrist showed me that, you know, he's susceptible to pain and a high degree of discomfort from a very simple technique. It was a Z-lock. I was not trying to hurt him. I was trying to simply train him, and he tried to resist. So the technique only hurt because he resisted when there's no need to resist. You can just feel the discomfort and go with it. So he, you know, took it personal apparently, and got up and was complaining about his pain in his wrist. He's, you know, hurt and everything. And I thought, well, you know, let me just take it easy. So let's switch to gun disarms, back to gun disarms. We'd already been doing gun disarms. So he already knows what we're going to do. He's already been watching the videos before he came here anyway. And what's interesting is, instead of focusing on shooting as a violent criminal would do, he focuses on limp wristing and running away as I go to disarm the weapon. And when I came to disarm the weapon, because we had a room full of students in the background, which includes children, we did not want to rush forward because, number one, we could actually hit people in the room, but also this individual was just complaining about being hurt. So I was trying to be nice to him. So I was going to show just what we do in real life.
I was trying to be nice to him.
You always attack our attacker. And so in this case, I stayed still, which you can see in the video, did not move forward. And when I reached up, he took advantage of the fact that I didn't go forward and snatched it back. And then he started shooting. He was off to the side as well. First round wasn't even close to me.
Bro, you can stop. Please stop.
Remember.
Please stop. Please, please.
It's another.
Listen to this dude's voice is already like a migraine. Dude, first of all, let's call bullshit where bullshit is. I don't give a fuck what your background is, okay? Whether you tell the instructor up front or you lie through your fucking teeth. If your technique don't work, eat that humble pie, baby.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Eat that shit. Dude, you got owned. And then you make the stupidest comment ever. Well, he saw a couple of our videos, so he knew what was coming. Which is why most of us don't do videos.
My hero.
We teach bad guys the shit that we're trying to teach good guys. But guess what? It's okay if that was your choice, but own yourself getting owned.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say. Own your shit. When your shit don't work, all I ask is one thing: own it. It didn't work. Let me reevaluate. This motherfucker had the nerve to say, "Let me reset." Hey, bruh, let me know how self-defense work in Nintendo world. Hold on, let me pause the reset real quick. That's because y'all didn't give him the cheat. Todd, you should have gave him the cheat code. Up, up, down, down, left, right. BA select start, and he would have had 30 lives.
Yeah.
And then he could have done this.
Yeah.
See, that's what it was. Y'all didn't give him the cheat code. You gonna slow it down?
Yeah.
Play stupid games, right?
You know what? I'm gonna go get a beer. Give me a second.
Oh, that was sweet.
I
Yeah.
like the no eye pro, and they're shooting an airsoft gun. Dusty
Yeah,
about lost his left
which is
eyeball.
weird. You see that? Because that first shot, let's call, he missed, but that first shot, if it would have connected like the other ones did,
he would have gotten a cool eye patch.
Yes.
That would have been the best case scenario for this video.
Yeah. That was
This is
Lord.
painful to watch.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God.
All right, who else has what who else? Someone else chime in.
Where do you want to? I mean,
Wherever.
I'm just wondering, where was the Z-Lock? Marquise, did you see the Z-Lock? I didn't see the Z-Lock.
The only
I
Z-Lock
don't
was the
think he
damn
ever applied it.
Ziploc bag.
never
The
got a
gun
chance to
came
apply
in.
He never got a chance to apply it. In his normal videos, he will do a Z-Lock.
Oh,
But
okay.
in that video, he never got a chance to because that guy already knew it was coming and reacted before he even had a chance to do it.
We gonna
Oh, that's
Which
okay.
is why when you put your videos online and you allow people to study your techniques,
Within reason. Within reason. I will say there's a certain credibility that goes with it as well, though. Being able to pressure test yourself in public and fail in public.
Amen.
To let you know, people know that you aren't necessarily Rambo or Superman.
what's the difference though? What's the difference? Fail in public and eating that shit.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you
absolutely.
mind if I? Do you guys mind if I take this a step farther?
Let's go.
Yep.
Do.
Everybody froze.
Oh, that'll work. All right, let me just throw this out there and see where it takes us.
Detroit Urban Film Training.
I mean, this is why I believe in principles over techniques, and why at the end of the day I say you got to know how to fight, and there are no magic techniques because you're going to be caught in all kinds of fucked up situations where you got to just FSO and figure shit out. You know what I mean? And so when you're putting stuff out there that is a technique, that is an infallible technique, then you're just setting yourself and everybody else up for catastrophic failure. And I think that's to me, like that's the bigger issue in the industry, is that too many people are out there selling techniques. I mean, obviously this guy's the biggest fucking asshat who ever lived in our industry, right? But if we're really trying to educate people, in my humble opinion, for everyone's consideration, I would rather put that forward. Let's learn principles and let's learn how to fight. And know this. So I've been doing disarms for a really long fucking time, right? I'm really good at them. But I always tell people, no matter how much time and repetition you have on this, I'm going to strongly recommend that you don't go for that disarm unless you have no choice. And the reactions that happen in that particular clip, that reaction and that pull away reaction, is an instinctive response that almost everybody will have, whether they're trained in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or not. Have no training at all. Those are natural reflexes that natural human beings have, that he's obviously just trying to deflect away from his own asshattery.
Mm-hmm. Like, for example, Todd, how many martial artists do I have? Just show a hand. Okay, so martial artists. One of the things I used to laugh about when I used to compete and everything else was always the self-defense portion in competitions. Do you remember? And then they did the disarms back in the day. Do you remember? And then they started adding the 1 second rule. If the person has their hands on you for more than 1 second, you're automatically disqualified from the tournament or from the competition for that particular thing. This is what I look at when it comes to stupid shit like this. I feel like there's a double-edged sword, just as Todd just said, double-edged sword to all this shit. Because even when learning disarms, one of the things, or any type of techniques, let's not say disarms, any type of techniques. In the martial art world, when a person does a specific type of grab or hold, you got the person on the other side like, well, wait, I can counter it with this, and this. But you know the reason why you can say I can counter it is because it's happening in slow motion. We're doing it slowly to show you the technique and how it works. And in your mind, you like, well, if he does this, I'm gonna do that, and then if I do that, then he gonna do this, and it becomes
what if.
yes.
Always the what ifs are endless,
and the what ifs are endless.
That's why I submit for everyone's consideration, that there is no it. There is no it. There's just, you know how to fight or you don't. You're either trained or you're untrained. And we have to be able to be fluid and adaptable and be able to string things together and understand it, because fighting is filled with no nuance, right? The variables are unpredictable and unrepeatable. So when all we're doing is dealing with repeatable patterns, right? And violence is unrepeatable, we're only setting ourselves up for catastrophic outcomes.
Exactly. When people forget that it's not about the way, it's the fact that there is a way.
A way. Yep.
And I think that's what people get stuck in. Don't get stuck in I learned Krav, and in Krav, this is all we do, and this is what I know how to do. Then you meet someone who knows jiu-jitsu, and you're like, well, wait a minute, in Krav, this is going to work. No, there's multiple ways, and I hate this term, so God forgive me, because I'm going to say it out loud. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I hate that term because I don't try to figure out who the fuck skinning cats, but that's not my problem. But people need to evaluate that shit. Stop being stuck in your way and understand there are ways.
That's right.
I mean, I like the fact that he puts video, and I put out drills and videos. Marquise, you've seen some of my stuff. And I think it's important to put out things but the problem is with the public, they see drills and they think drills are fighting. And a drill, in my opinion, is a coordination drill. It's being able to utilize your body in a certain way for circumstance, because obviously whatever happens in the fight is circumstantial. And I think that's what the public forgets. And then they attack. But this guy, I feel like, I love your videos, Mike, with this guy, because I think they're fucking hilarious. But I feel like he could have just used it as a teaching moment, because everything is so circumstantial.
What about the shit that falls outside of the stuff that you learned that just fucking worked? Forgivable to, like, it was crazy. You pulled the shit off and it worked. Like, you didn't plan it. It's just your body just instinctively backslapped, and that you didn't learn that shit. It just worked.
Right.
Because that was what was there at that moment, and I went with it.
I got an example of that one that happened to me as a very young policeman. Nobody ever taught me to stick my thumb in somebody's eye until I felt the inside of their cranial vault.
Yeah.
Until a champion high school former wrestler decided he was going to take a hold of me and school me. And I was like, oh shit, this is bad, And I mean, it was not it was a violent encounter, but it wasn't like a punch-in violent encounter. And the dude mounted me and had no idea that when you get a thumb in your eye, all of a sudden your wrestling background goes right out the window, and the 180-pound cop just kicked your ass.
Right.
And after it was all said and done, he was like, dude, I'm really sorry. I was just going to toss you and then bail. And he goes, nobody's ever done that in a wrestling match. And I went, oh yeah, no shit, huh?
Because in a fucking wrestling match.
That's because
I'm like, your rules are your rules, but
there are no rules in the streets.
There you go. And and it was just happenstance. I was like, I wasn't panicked, but I was like, oh, this is going to go real bad. And reached up and did one of these, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, I give up. I quit. Fight over. And but there again is an example. I'm not like a top level. I mean, I've done some jits, like Aikido, judo, all that, karate when I was a kid, all this stuff. So I know how to throw a punch, and I can kind of hold my own in a grappling match. But I grappled to the point that I was like, I'm going to lose. And, when you're carrying a gun, you can't lose.
No.
There is no lose.
Right.
So then it was like, bets are off, pow, and fight complete. Yeah. But which this dude, this Dusty guy, whatever his name is, have you ever seen the old like In Living Color with
Everybody stuck
yeah.
again?
Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
where he's the karate instructor and he
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
stabbed about 8 times.
yeah.
Oh, you have to come at me like this.
Yeah.
That's what that reminds me of. And it's like, you know, it's and the uniform thing. Come on, bro. Like,
Yeah.
do you wear that around? Like,
all the time. And I'm gonna tell you like this. I feel like the best martial art, in my opinion, is Cobra Kai.
stop. Just
Is Cobra Kai. I feel that Sensei John Kreese and Sensei
Right now,
Terrence
yes.
Silver
From
are the best.
Chicago.
Waiting for that topic to come up, and you know,
is that dude on an Arctic
Oh man,
expedition or what are we
this is
doing
the
here?
stupidest thing ever.
Bruh, don't do this one, please.
I got
don't.
to. It's only a minute. It don't last
Man, come
All
on,
right,
Mike.
you are.
Really?
That's what she said.
Okay.
Really,
Mike?
Mike?
You want straight to the chest. If I move, you pull the trigger. Right to the chest. Yep. And say, hey, don't move. Don't move it there.
Pull the trigger.
And don't move. All right. So that worked, right? So block it.
No.
Try to pull the trigger. It won't fire because I blocked the trigger. Hold it in. So now it's blocked. So it can't fire. Let's try another one. You made this gun. No. Fire. So then it works. Pull. Yep. All right. Same thing. Put it right there, but if I try to grab it, you're gonna fire it. Put it right on it. Chest again? Yep. Wow. Did it work? Yeah, nah, it worked. It's over with. I would have got so you're
All right, go. What was the issue with that video? You already know it. Go. Besides the
Nobody
fact,
gonna put it to your chest and pull the trigger. They gonna shoot you while they coming to your chest.
but hold on. Somebody could. Here's this. If we zoom in, what kind of gun, besides whether it's real or fake, that's not the issue. What kind of gun is that in the first place?
That'd
That
be a
enables
Glock.
him, huh?
It'll be a Glock.
That's not a Glock. That would be something to the likes of maybe a traditional double action, something that's a hammer
You
fired.
got a hammer?
That's got a
I
hammer.
can't see that close.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go out here and zoom it up.
Yeah, we can't see that.
It's the gun nerd in me says that looks like a 5913 third gen Smith that's airsofted.
Wow.
what is he wearing? I don't understand the attire.
I think he's getting ready to go on an Arctic expedition.
First of all, these jeans is skinny as hell, though.
Man,
Like,
sweat coming down his calf muscle.
I got no
That dude needs to go to McDonald's and supersize next
I got like
year.
a yeast infection right now wearing them
Hey, dude
pants.
look like he had on some jeans.
Oh shit!
But they're still hanging off of his butt. But they're skinny jeans. I don't.
Right, but how your boots bigger than your jeans? That's not how that works.
He's got a condition. We call that in Oklahoma. We call that noacetol.
Oh wow.
Well, in Illinois, we call it Nassatol syndrome.
Nacetol, yeah.
He might have this, but it's above the jeans. I don't know.
but you know, Dusty there, he suffers from ILS. You know what ILS is?
Invisible lat syndrome.
Imaginary lat syndrome.
Oh, yours is imaginary? See, we call ours invisible.
And
Yeah.
Dickie did, right? His belly hangs
Good job,
farther
Mike.
out than
Good
Dickie
job.
Oh, hey.
Did you do
look,
ILS and some noacetol?
Oh, okay.
So you see, it's a hammer fired.
I see it.
Who the fuck carrying a hammer
Pull the
fire
trigger.
gun? That's a criminal.
all right. So that worked, right? So block it. Try to pull the trigger. It won't fire because I blocked the trigger, hold it in. So
No,
now
you
it's
didn't.
blocked. So it can't.
You
He didn't
blocked the hammer.
Block
Yes.
the trigger.
He didn't block the trigger. He blocked the hammer.
You blocked
sound
the hammer.
stupid as fuck telling someone you blocked a trigger.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm sorry. You all didn't see that.
Can we
Because
punch him in the face?
I'd be much more concerned with a Lorson 25 than I would a
yeah, he didn't
third
block.
gen Smith.
Is his thumb over the muzzle? What is he doing? I can't tell.
That's
Oh my
Stupidity.
God.
Can you all see it now?
Well, I see skin bone test.
Out here.
Right.
That's crazy. Okay, I tried.
Yeah,
We saw the
we're good.
hammer, dude.
We saw enough of Jackass 2000.
Okay,
Right.
fair enough. Yeah, so and here's this. Here's another thing that he did. He actually, you know, the action will always be faster than reaction. So as soon as he told him to do something and then he gave a command, he interrupted that command with that action. So it's like he cheated by not teaching him the what he was doing so that he could counter it.
You
In
cheated.
that session, to give him the up. In that some go ahead, Todd. Go ahead.
Misdirection.
Yeah.
It's a fucking magic trick,
Yeah.
right? It's like we're all magicians at the magic show.
Yeah.
Exactly. That
Yeah.
shit don't work on us. But
And it's like,
unfortunately, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right?
yeah. Yeah.
That's why so many people buy his shit.
And it's like, I've been on his videos. I was like, Detroit is just 5 hours away from me, and I've been there multiple times. Please invite me up.
You should
I
just
got
go.
blocked.
Like, and you got blocked?
I got blocked.
Oh shit, I ain't got blocked yet. But I'm like, please invite me up. Like, I'd love to come up there. And you know,
just go.
Field trip.
Yeah, totally. Just go.
field trip. But
Yeah.
you know what? Somebody like him, he might have the Detroit police on standby.
Bring them.
They wouldn't know you were going though. They don't know you're going.
Well,
I'm going to find
on
the
YouTube.
tightest shirt to wear if we go.
Todd should go. Hold on. Todd should go. Todd should put on a full beard, all right, and change his entire persona, and then have Todd go there and make sure it gets video.
I don't own any skinny jeans or big boots. Though.
Well, no,
Hey.
that's the thing is you don't want to wear skinny jeans.
Hey,
Madison,
get Todd a mullet wig.
Madison, you can find some skinny jeans on Madison and Pulaski. Oh, no,
Hell no, you can find skinny jeans at 5'11". That's not pretend.
oh my God.
I saw that shit. I was like, hey, I love 5'11" till they did that shit. I'm like, nah, dude, don't put me on skinny jeans. I'm grown.
So
my thighs ain't meant for that.
anybody who's watching this, you know, look, the greatest instructors are always students because we can always learn from each other. If you feel you're the smartest person in the room, you're the dumbest person in the room. But this guy is just total. And at first, I thought it was. This is what I thought because he had gotten 100,000 subscribers, then he got 1 million subscribers, and I thought he was doing this stuff to go viral so that he can get it. So that when he gets 1 million, now he flips it and then starts teaching shit, which would have been a wonderful tactic using social media to get the numbers up. So now people can see your real content. I'm like, yeah, that's great. No, this guy really believes that that's.
Think of it this way. Think of it this way. Someone once convinced a lot of people that aliens will come get us out of our bed after we drink this Kool-Aid. That's because you spit a good game. Don't mean you telling that truth. And that's with an F, not truth. Truth.
Yeah.
TROOF. Truth.
KD, why you look like a damn album cover?
The soulful sounds of KD.
Well,
that looks good.
I'm going to be using a laser, so now I'm trying to save my eyes a little bit. I just got through laser.
Oh, okay. I was just and now you're not even
moving
like it's the blueprint. All right.
Hey, did you go over our new discovery?
We did that, man. We did that. Yeah. The shoot to motivate the deadly threat to stop doing deadly shit. And here I go saying stop. You know what? Let's move on. Blue light special. All right. I got a question for you guys. And it's controversial. I don't know if you're gonna talk about it, but I don't know if Todd, I know you hinted on this earlier. Brian, I know you've talked about this too. We all have kind of hinted on this, that the way that society and certain aspects of the government are manipulating the judicial process to where it's probably more likely than not where you're not going to get a fair trial by the triers of fact. And you probably don't want to chance it with one judge because as you can see in the Kim Potter case, how one person, an activist, was able to make it all the way to the judge's residence. You see what I'm saying? So even if you went with the judge, you know, how that judge might still be pressured because it's just one person. And so what I'm finding is that you may not get justice until the appellate process.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And that's if it's if your lawyer was able to do enough to preserve things on the record that are appealable issues and get as many appealable issues as possible. So the question that I have is this: concealed carry insurance, whatever that may be, right? If the triers of fact being the jury, the judge, the public, because a court of public opinion, we can't discount them, right, in certain cases because they influence jury decisions. Let's not make a mistake and not think that's not the case, right? If you don't find this person guilty, we gonna burn it down.
Maxine Waters.
Just saying. How many of us have done the research, without mentioning any names unless you care to do so, as to whether or not these providers will back us at the appeal? Let me provide context. Derek Chauvin, granted, that was not a concealed carry situation, right? It was a police officer situation. But you see that his defense attorney, I think his name was Eric Thomas, it was funded by the union. The minute he was found guilty, regardless of what side you're on, he was trying to get an appellate lawyer that was denied. So is that possible for concealed carriers?
So
that's going to depend on the insurance because some
right, I'm about to say depends on
take care of.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Yeah, so some insurances, you know what I mean, will take you all the way through the appeal process if need be. It's obviously up to everyone to do their own due diligence and research as much as possible. Because again, if you're going to research about your instructors, why wouldn't you research about your insurance?
Because most people ain't told about insurance.
I didn't go with State Farm just to go with State Farm just because that's what I see on the TV. And although that's what they want, you know what I mean, you decimate the market with marketing, and then you're brainwashing the thinking that State Farm is the best, when really they're one of the worst ones.
Right. So when you look at it, yeah, that's why most people usually have more than one concealed carry insurance too, to make to fill in that gap. So ultimately, yeah, it depends on what insurance you get and who you're going to stick with, because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is your choice to do your research and your due diligence to figure out who's going to cover you for whatever you're going to do and all that other good stuff.
Well, yeah, and you got to be careful with that because if you do some insurance, if you're doing double CCL or CCW insurance, some may not pick up the process after it was already started by someone else.
Right. Or the fact that technically your homeowner's insurance umbrella policy doesn't cover self-defense inside your home. So if you destroy property inside your crib, your umbrella policy doesn't cover it because it's an intentional act.
But
you're talking above my pay grade, but I happen to be very close to CCW Safe, and that is the only company in the industry who has successfully defended a murder one case. So you do your own research. I mean, Concealed Carry Inc., concealedcarry.com, they've got a comparative chart with USCCA, US Law Shield, all the big players. And I mean, your mileage may vary, but I work with those guys and I've seen what they do. And that's about the only one that I'll carry, that I'll give money to.
And hell, check the state that you're planning on carrying in. Like, have they ever protected anyone in your specific state?
Yes.
Well, there's some states that you can't carry concealed carry coverage.
Right. Washington, New York, New Jersey, and I want to say Connecticut.
Yeah. And
don't ask me how I know, leave me alone. Stay out my business.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean, I know, my dad works for CCW Safe. I mean, he's one of their dudes, right? Like,
it's down there in the I got it. Say less.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched him get on a plane at midnight to go somewhere because a member got involved in an incident.
Damn.
Yeah. He's 64 years old and he's like, yep, got to pack up, Uber into the airport. Something happened in Vegas, and it's like,
something happened in Vegas.
Yeah, no, there was a case there. I mean, I can't.
You shit.
No shit, right?
Cocaine is all the time. We understand.
But I know of a member that had several different concealed carry coverages, got in an incident in Vegas, and within like 8 hours, my dad and another guy were there, and he never had to go to jail or anything. He didn't ended up having to do an interview or anything, but it was pretty, in the grand scheme of like clean cut deals, this was like the best case scenario. And about the third day, one of the other providers finally said, "Hey, is everything okay? Do we need to call you an attorney?" And he's like, "These guys are already here." Like, what? So I'm just saying, like, based solely on reputation and not on the fact that I have like dear friends and family that started that company and work for them, I've seen what they do. Like, and they're the only ones that I would give money to personally, and expect anything in return. And I'm not saying like USCCA and US Law Shield and the rest of the bunch aren't good. It's just, I have no experience with, there you go. Yeah. I just have no experience with them. And I've seen firsthand, like, you know, the inner workings of that company, because it's 4 blocks from my house. And yeah. And I mean, that's not to say if they were a bunk company, I wouldn't go to somebody else, but at the same time, it's like, man, I've watched what they do for members. And if you look up Stephen Maddox out of like Cary, North Carolina, that's sales enough for me. So
did they did they bury the strippers in the desert, or they just stick to the trash can?
We can either confirm.
No, I can't discuss the details of that one.
Confirm nor deny.
It was a 55-gallon drum that they sealed and hid in plain sight.
Right. But it wasn't an Ozark scenario. It was just, but
they left them on
it was
what you're saying.
Yeah, it was a legit self-defense shooting, and ultimately, the member wasn't charged, but he had a couple of other providers as well, and he's waiting on a return phone call from their like answering service, and our dudes like showed up, like, "Hey, you need anything? What do we got? Like, let's retain an attorney. Let's get all this." Yeah, like within 6-8 hours. So, you know,
that's good to know.
And and so that's definitely a question that I would suggest that anyone, you know, ask, is that the attorneys that you have in your brand or under your brand, can you give me at least 5 attorneys who have argued before the Illinois or before the Wisconsin or before the such Supreme Court? What was the case brief? Because you can look that stuff up yourself, right?
So one of the things CCW Safe does is they will provide you an attorney.
Yeah.
And they're going to vet whoever the attorney is. If you end up like Stephen Maddox, who ended up, he ended up being arrested.
Yeah.
They negotiated a bondsman, negotiated his bond, negotiated with his employer. I mean, they went like all out,
above and beyond.
And, some of these other companies are what they call a wasting policy. Okay, you have, $1 million in coverage after you're found innocent, then we'll reimburse you up to $1 million. Read the fine print. I mean, there's some of those that you're like, well, and then some of them, their big sales point is, well, we let you pick your own attorney. Well, okay. What attorney that's practiced criminal law that's any good at it and not a bleed it and plead it attorney is going to show up to a deal? Like, how many of those guys are going to crawl out of the woodwork and go, I'll negotiate you a great plea deal.
Right. All you're going to do is remember Glenn Lerner.
Right. And then, there's some other different policies out there that, hey, if multiple members are involved in an incident, you buy in at a shareholder stake essentially, and whatever money's in the pot is what you're entitled to. So 2-3 members get in an incident, and you may have $500,000 of coverage, but your entitlement's only like 10 grand. Well,
how do you get a group rate on self-defense?
What's that?
How do you get a group rate on self-defense?
Right.
Like, hey, y'all,
you
if
don't.
we all shoot,
yeah,
you gonna split the bill. How you gonna split the bill on a shooting?
If our bullets combine.
Right. Well, and that's the whole thing why you got to do some digging, and some of the insurance language with some of those companies is very ambiguous. And if you don't know what you're reading, it's extremely difficult to decipher what a wasting policy is, what a what an indemnity policy is versus, an actual, I can't even think of the words for it because I'm not in the insurance business.
Yeah.
But
Ryan, you said it was above your pay grade, but it doesn't sound like it was.
Right.
well, some of it, and the only reason I know this is I was there when they started the company. There's a couple of retired officers from my area.
Yeah.
Three of them, and one of them is an extremely successful medical malpractice attorney now, like defense attorney.
Yeah.
He doesn't practice criminal law. He goes and vets who he's going to put up, who he's going to run out front. So, there's that aspect of it. And then there's an infrastructure at that company of people that are on call in rotation that will be on a flight the next day, the next available flight to get to wherever you're at, to start vetting bondsmen and negotiating. Hey, I know your bond's 20%, but we'll wire you cash in 20 minutes. Oh, okay. Now it's 5%. Thanks. And we'll guarantee your client's going to show up. Vetting criminal attorneys. And if you look at criminal defense attorneys, and I got a lot of friends that are criminal defense attorneys that do not practice in trials.
Yes. They practice in fucking pleas.
They practice in pleas, negotiations.
Yes.
They're not trial attorneys.
The Robert Shapiro's.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, because there are some instances where that's the best you're going to do. Okay. And I totally get that. I stop and talk to somebody and a kilo of cocaine falls out of their pants. Probably just need a guy to get you through the process. Don't really need a guy to try to say I'm innocent. Right. I mean, that's just a instance, right? You get off an airplane with a kilo of cocaine in your pants. It's kind of hard to say that somebody put that there, right? So you're going to need somebody to mitigate the damage, maybe, right?
Depends on the state.
Right.
And it depends on the circumstance of what occurred on that plane.
Right.
Right. Well, right.
And if those are his pants.
Oh God.
I mean,
that's why you wear skinny jeans. That's why you wear skinny jeans. That shit can't happen to you.
Right.
Somebody put it in my boot. Somebody put it in my boot and I didn't even know about it.
But either way, something like that where you're just trying to lessen the impact, you know what I mean? It's like make the hit a little softer. Okay, there's tons of attorneys that do that type of work. Right. The kind of guys that roll in and do trials are few and far between. Yes. And the ones that are good at it are even fewer than that. Yes. One of my dear friends, she is an exceptional trial attorney and has kicked my ass in court. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, if I got jammed up, I'd be calling her. Like,
let me give you something with context with that, Brian, because I've been falsely arrested before, and it was a use of force situation. And I had an attorney whose name I will not say,
right,
who kicked my ass in a DUI case that I had. One thing I forgot, and he was just able to capitalize on it and win. And I've seen him win in other cases, even at the felony level. So when I got in my situation, right, it was outside of the county where I usually was a police officer in. Yeah. I hired him. We were friends. I hired him. And then that's when I learned something else about the judicial process and the bar process within that county, right? It would be stupid for you to hire, unless this person has a very high national profile. It would be stupid for you to hire an out-of-county lawyer to come into a strange county because every county has their own bar association.
And their own little quirks as far as the way that, that's one of the things with CCW Safe that I'm really fond of is their vetting process for when they retain an attorney.
Yes.
When they retain a criminal defense attorney, you don't have to get on the Googles and try to figure out who has actually practiced law over here. They're going to send you the best and brightest.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones go, hey, here's 20 grand. retain. You get to pick your own attorney. Well, you know, what if Jim Bob has only practiced foot fungus law or whatever? You know, it's like, well, you know, I did some legal work once, and you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, you're going to shove your defense money at somebody who's never been in front of a judge in a courtroom because, you know, somebody told you he was a pretty good guy or gal or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's the big sales point for CCW Safe is if something happened, I go, this is what happened. Help me.
I'm switching.
Yeah.
And here's this too. One of the attorneys from Company A that I will not say, we would just say Company A, because I will not say that, right? I hate to say this, but if you guys follow me, whatever, go back and watch some of my other videos, right? I'll find the title. I'll put it in the description after this is over. This attorney who is under this brand said something to the effect of, look, you can't pull your gun just because this person is trying to come to you and trying to fight you with their bare hands. You can't just pull your gun. I said, what the fuck did you do? And I was on the same radio station interview with them. And I went and talked to this person's rep from Company A. I said, if this is the person that's under your stuff, and I know it is because I looked it up, you need to have a conversation with this person. I didn't say gender, but this person. You need to have a conversation because disparity of force proves that's definitely not the case. There's so much shit that no, fuck. So,
Mike's soapbox is coming out. It's under his feet. I can see it.
Go.
He just slid it under there. You see that?
What you're doing is you're disarming persons who know themselves not to be a boxer, who know themselves not to be a strong person, so to speak. They are confident in their skills and not unsure about yours, but they believe that if they took one punch, last time a paper cut almost took them out. So I know the fucking mosquito I had was in the hospital for 7 days.
Hey, Todd, have you ever been on this before? Because
this is my first time.
This
is my first time.
Every now and then when Mike gets passionate, you'll start wanting to give your heart to Jesus real quick. I mean, he'll make the altar call here in a minute.
Fortunately, I already have, so I'm going to be okay.
Very good. I'm just saying.
I'll be okay.
It's like you don't know. I don't know what your capabilities are, but you're saying that, okay, this person's got no gun because they got their hands like this. When this hand is close to the cloth and they can just pull that gun and shoot faster than you can react. Why am I going to take that chance?
I feel like I'm back in the Shiite Pentecostal church.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Oh my God. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They do have different levels of coverage. They got Defender. And Defender starts as low as $19 a month.
Defender, Protector, Ultimate. There's like
John,
3-4 different tiers. All right, are we going back to the Benny Hinn video? Oh man, dude.
You know, I just want you guys to understand.
Was it a praying mantis, Marquise?
Earlier, yeah, it was.
Yeah. I just want you guys.
I did study it, but that's something different.
I thought I was going to get crane kicked through the screen here.
I don't think my arms would fit on the screen if I did that. So
yeah, it's kind of in a box.
Now, like this is moth kung fu right now, just moth.
I just want you guys to kind of understand that, you know, in this culture. And I pray you guys never, those who've been in real conflicts, don't wish the real conflict on anyone. 100% of the conflicts you avoid, that's the shit you win. You know, the stuff that Todd, man, I got to get to your class, Todd, I swear, because I love learning from wonderful people. Same thing as John. I've already been in Marquise's class. Brian, you too. Angela, I got to come down to where you are and just, I like getting with, you know, and Katie, we talk every morning, man. So, you know, look, avoid that conflict. Somebody call you out your name, fuck it. They call you bitch, run away, do this shit, and just fucking move while keeping your eyeball situational awareness. But you find yourself getting into a situation and you had no other choice but to make that choice, then you want to make sure that who's going to have your back will have your back past the conviction.
See, and that's an area I'm not sure of with any of them.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and that's why we got to ask those questions. Because, see, as a person who's been through the shit, and I hate to say it because a great percentage of instructors never been arrested, right? We've arrested folks.
Wait,
but a great
in this
percentage
country?
of us, huh?
In this country?
I would argue that's a good project, but I would argue
man,
that
you better make sure that country doesn't have extradition.
here we go. Right, more than
saying.
half, but less than
Or
Huh?
actually,
That?
is it just the wearing of the handcuffs, or is it getting in the car?
no, not that, Angela. No, look.
Right. So, wait. No. We gotta go. Wait, Mike.
Right.
We need context.
No.
When you say arrested, are we talking process? Are we talking handcuff? Are we talking in the station? Are we talking in the car? What are we talking for arrested?
I'm talking you either received the information, misdemeanor, or you were indicted, felony, or you had a prelim.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not in this country. Yeah,
right.
Good.
Wow.
Fair enough. So what I'm saying is American instructors, more than 50, but less than 75%, they have never been in that process. Thankfully. But sometimes you could do everything right and still get falsely arrested because you don't control the decision to arrest. And so you need to
the political landscape has changed.
Yes.
Right. And so we're seeing political railroadings happen now, regardless of whatever level of justification there is in the case. Right. And so you're bringing up a really great point that I think this conversation really needs to happen with insurance companies now, because then what happens is if we're seeing these political railroadings happen left and right, then what happens is people will just stop carrying their gun. And we don't want that. We don't want that either.
No.
Because they're just afraid, well, no matter what I do, I'm fucked, right? If I don't carry it, I'm fucked. If I do carry it and I use it appropriately and with measure, I'm fucked. So why carry it? Because then I have a one-sided sword instead of a double-edged sword. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't use it anyway, so why take the risk of carrying it?
Well, and like Marquise just put up his knife. If people stop carrying guns, what do you think will be the next thing they don't want us to carry?
Well,
a fucking knife.
Yeah. And then you really have
if
to.
If they convince us not to carry guns, what do you think will be the next thing? Everyone that like us is going to start carrying knives.
Right.
And when everyone's walking around with knives, they're going to take those away.
And we are not trying to dissuade anyone here from carrying a firearm, because I want you to. Even his knife got CCW safe. Damn it! Look, shouts out to CCW.
Thanks a lot.
There's marketing for you right there. CCW Save needs to pay Brian.
Oh wait, what?
Nice.
Whoa!
Assisted
that's a Microtech.
No, that's a Benchmade. I live in free America. We can carry these.
Oh,
that's lovely.
But
that's what I carry at work.
You guys are something.
That's why it's got my badge number on one side of it. Because cops will not heist money or anything, but if there's a Benchmade laying in a car somewhere, it's like, oh hey.
Wait, where are you, Brian?
Oklahoma.
They would take your cuffs too, your mags, all that stuff. So
I've donated cuffs
to
law enforcement.
Yeah, especially on a with multiple persons.
Yep, I've donated because I got all the compliments. Oh, these are so lightweight, and man, we don't have them like this at the department.
Boy,
you can have them.
There is one brand of cuffs that I will use. I've tried all the other ones, and they're the old Smith and Wessons. Man, that's about
the Model 100s. Yeah. But I like the pink asp cuffs. I'm always getting them back, always. And I used to. Matter of fact, when I put the cuffs on, it would determine. It would be if I had to chase. Hold on now. Pull back, Brian. You gotta hear this one. Hold on. If I had to chase you and I had to work for it, I put the pink ones because you were on ban status. Bitch ass, you know what the N-word. All right. Sorry. And I didn't use the word, but I just banned you. All right, let's keep going.
Matter of fact, Matter of fact, I'm scared to use my
one?
new ASP cuffs because they have the button for the secondary lock.
Hell, now I'll use it. Yeah.
I'm scared as hell to use them now because I'm like, dude, I might not ever get them back.
Matter of fact, remember tactically when the Model 100s, the keyhole was, you always want to have it up. You don't want to have it down, right? That's old CO shit. Now with ASP having both keyholes on both sides and both double, so you had to work.
Push button.
I've seen those ASP cuffs break. I can't tell you how many times.
Yeah.
And I like ASP products, don't get me wrong, but I had a dude at jail that was like, we were, he was just an old school criminal, man, just an old school crook, right? And he's like, what are those? And my partner's like, oh, these are the new ASP lightweight cuffs. And he goes, I bet I can break them. He's like, okay. He said, cuff me up. So at jail, cuffs him up, and the guy goes, here you go, and breaks him like that. And I went, show me how you did that. And he goes, for $1. No. And I'm like, okay, here.
That's worth $1. That's worth $1. Let me see that again.
What's that?
I said I don't know the difference between the cuffs.
So Smith, those are ASP cuffs right there. The ASP hinge cuffs, they've got like a polymer case on them. Smith & Wessons are the old school cop cuffs. They've been around for
with the chain in between.
Yeah, they've been around for I don't know how many years. They make them with a hinge in between them, but I always carried one of each because with the hinged ones, if you're fighting somebody, you can get like a lever on them, right?
Yeah, you got more control.
You got a little more control. But the old chained Model 100s, I've never seen anybody be able to break those. I've seen people break the chains on them. There was a dude that used to be a notorious dude around Oklahoma in the metro that could break the chains on them. Yeah, I mean, he'd cut his wrists up and all that, but still, it was just like a parlor trick for him.
Yeah.
But the ASP cuffs, I've seen those things fail so many times. And I mean, if anybody from ASP is listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't use them.
Hey, man, this is real world shit. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But I've had like, what's that?
Aren't those zip ties? I mean, what about the zip? I know you can bust out a zip ties.
Flex cuffs.
Oh yeah.
I know it's not a zip tie.
But see, they're not designed. Here we go. No handcuff is designed to be a permanent restraint.
Right.
And that is the fallacy. I learned that as a CO. That's why I can say I love the fact I did CO before I became a police officer, because you learn, and we was all Model 100s with the leg cuffs.
Yep.
I used to be on the street carrying leg irons. So, I'm good for you want to run, fuck it. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to treat you prison style when we catch you,
Hey, Mike, question for you. I didn't know you were a CO. You don't have to agree, but did you agree with my earlier statement about COs and how they deal with shit inside? When I was talking about the difference between de-escalation, when I was talking about the difference between de-escalation and deterrence inside.
Yes, I agree. But here's another thing I agree too. I'm going to give you a perfect example of that. The Cook County Sheriff's Police, in Cook County, Illinois, most of the sheriff's police came from the jails. You don't hear of sheriff's police getting into, granted, they get into their stuff, but you don't hear about a lot of it. Why? Because they understand inside the jail, I got that de-escalation, but I got that ability to fuck you up.
They develop that command presence right away.
Yes. And so they know
the command presence is the deterrent.
Yes. And
most
so
of
they know how to handle a situation, because most of them ride by themselves. So they know how to handle a situation and not escalate it. It's the POs that have none of that experience that build a false positive by carrying a gun and relying on that, much like they rely on fake ass insurance because it says full coverage, like the analogy.
Well, most of your county agencies, that's kind of the path to being a patrol is you start at the jail and then you're fully deputized and all that, and then they turn you loose in patrol.
Yeah.
Most of your police agencies, municipal officers, you're going to go through an academy and then you're going to hit the street. And
to get you killed.
Yeah. Well, it depends. I mean, like my academy was almost 7 months long, And then my FTO program was another almost 5 months
Right,
plus.
we ain't talking about when you was the police or when I first started. Anybody else? We talking about like this new shit now.
Like
Nowadays,
you almost get out of high school becoming a cop now.
Well, it depends because, like Oklahoma, Texas, I mean, regardless of what program you're going to go through, you're going to be. I mean, they're getting longer. Our academy now is almost 8 months long.
But your state is a different state. It ain't like
Yeah, but the state mandate is like 16 weeks. So, and when I started, the state mandate was like 11. So, I mean, it's still, they keep adding more training, and I agree, like
Which
with
they
training.
should.
Okay, training's great.
What's the pass fail rate?
Man, I don't know. It varies. It fluctuates a lot. That a lot of that can be economy, man. You get some kids, like you get an academy chock full of people, and all of a sudden, like an oil company's hiring, and it's like, yeah, 50 here or 100 here, bye. So I get that, but like, I agree. Like, training is great, but at a certain point, if you don't put training into action, you're nothing more than you're a subject matter expert in unrealized theory.
Facts, because you haven't tested that shit.
I love because there's been no force multiplier yet.
I mean, I went through a custody and control program that was like 5 weeks long. Everything from handcuffing, batons, pepper spray, gun retention, all that. The first fight I got into didn't look like anything like that, right? So, I mean, there is some learning curve there. And one of the big problems I see in law enforcement, probably like the number one problem, is everybody immediately defaults to training. Oh, well, they weren't trained enough. And I'm like, no, they weren't experienced enough. And we're starting to do what the military did about 20 years ago, where they have this zero defect mentality that, you get a private and he screws something up, and the next thing you do is you're trying to kick him out of the military instead of trying to like shape that person into a fully functioning member of the team, right?
Sure.
That's the way police work has started to get. When I hired on, it was not uncommon to, oh man, I screwed that up. Okay, we're going to retrain you on how to do this, and we're going to work you through it. And then we're going to put you with somebody until you get this under your belt. Nowadays, it's like, oh, well, they screwed that up. Well, let's run it by the district attorney. Let's run it by internal affairs. Let's run it by 18 people that haven't done police work in 20 plus years and see if we want to retain them. And I've seen that attitude permeate throughout, throughout law enforcement. And it's like, dude, this is not a job that you're just like learn through osmosis. You have to go out and make mistakes and get hurt and screw it up and time you want to go. Yeah. So the training thing, great. Hey, the better training we have, that's the other thing, is the quality of training. You know what I'm saying? When I came into law enforcement, we shot 50 round or 60 round PPC courses was our firearms training. Like that's a great game. That's a great sport.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of in the 30s guys shooting one-handed bullseye qualifications, and now you're going to carry a gun on the street. There's a big disconnect there, right? So that's evolved quite a bit since I've been involved in it, and but it's like defensive tactics. My dad went through in '79. They were teaching him boxing. Okay, this is how you put handcuffs on. Now here's how you box. Will you fight? Well, there's some value in that, but now we've evolved into more like jujitsu based stuff and grappling stuff. So, the quality of training has a lot more impact than just the amount. Did you
follow the Kim Potter case?
Which one was that?
She
the taser thing.
Yes.
I looked at it and I was like, somebody at some point in her career probably stuck her back in a police car due to staffing shortages or something, when she would have probably been just fine to be like a school resource officer or a property room officer or a desk sergeant somewhere. Mm-hmm. But somebody handed her a whole bunch of stuff that she had a minimal amount of training on and probably not a real good quality of training, and said, go forth and do police work.
That's why it's important. And I want to beg and urge and plead as much, because I know you all, Todd, I'm sure your training schedule is probably hectic because you come here with a lot of experience. Same thing with Marquise. I know you guys, Brian, and even me, I'm humble, whatever. But we got to take some time to go back and look at some of this stuff, because that Kim Potter case, the Amber Geiger case where she went and shot both John, right? To hear Amber testify she did convict herself for sure, but she was very authentically true in stating that the in-service is just a head-bobbing session. Like, she really didn't know what the fuck she was doing. If you look at Kim Potter, her believing that she had the taser and acting as though she had the taser, even though she had the gun, because she had not been put under, stress inoculation and then tested in the midst of that. And then hearing from Sergeant Dopey, what the fuck, the person who's the taser instructor, and he's just as worse as so the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And so you see where it comes, because they're a tight-knit community. They're a tight-knit police department. They hang out all together. They do all this like, oh my God, they are the commensurate. It's probably the fucking wrong word, whatever. But they're a perfect family. When shit's nice, but when shit is bad, did you see after she shot during the trial her reaction? Like, she just cried and bawled the fuck out. Like, I was certain, as I watch it with Rakita Law. Shouts out to Rakita Law on YouTube. Nate the lawyer, it's a whole bunch of lawyers, and I was listening to their analysis. We were all sold when she bawled out and cried like real tears of, oh my God, I'm gonna go to jail. I didn't mean to kill him. Freak the fuck out. There's a difference between that reaction and then somebody who's stress inoculated, who's trained, who didn't mean to kill somebody, but isn't gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like, she
I get it.
Lost her shit.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, she's going to jail." I mean, the best thing that could have happened is she would have holstered that up and said, "I just shot him." Done.
I don't even think she even
no more statements. Just go sit over there on the curb and be like, "Hey, discharge my gun. Bad guy shot."
I don't even think she holstered. Now that I think about it, I would have to go back and look at the video, but I don't even recall her.
I don't remember, but she totally panicked.
But she lost it. And her trainee, Officer Lucky, he was in field training, but he wasn't a new cop. He was just a new cop at that department. His composure was much better than hers was.
There's a saying that somebody.
Can I ask a question? Since most of you guys are law enforcement, the training that is mandatory here in my area, I was invited to a training for the police of an area where I just moved from, and which should say something. They invited me because they wanted to, I guess, bring me in for BJJ, and I'm a white belt in BJJ. I don't even mess with BJJ like that. But this was some mandatory training for their department. Mm-hmm. 5 dudes showed up. Like, that
could have been scheduling though.
Well, they said it was mandatory. And, out of the 5 gentlemen who did choose to show up, one could barely touch his toes. There was 0 physical requirement for their police department. And not only is the mandatory, like the training, I guess they have the firearms training that's only twice a year, I believe, right? I guess.
Most places, yeah.
Depends.
But martial arts training, and they were trying to do, they wanted me to do an edged weapons course for their department. Mm-hmm. So I want to know from the law enforcement officers, what is your protocol on edged weapons? Because theirs, from what I gathered, from what they kind of told me, the gist was something about laying on your back and kicking, which to me means death. But
Angela, do you guys mind if I interject here?
No, go ahead.
Please, Todd, anytime. Yeah.
I always still like to ask. We have multiple people on the panel here that are law enforcement. I'm not law enforcement. I never have been, but I've trained a fuckload law enforcement.
Is that more than a shitload or less than an assload? Or
yeah, that's exactly right.
Metric.
And so I've been invited to come and teach law enforcement, and I have taught a law enforcement who have come out of pocket to come and learn from me as well. My training partner of 9 years is a high-speed police officer. It's a world that I've been able to have kind of a toe in, for a while. And Angela, if I can just submit this for your consideration, I just want to say this, that the answer to your question is very complicated. It's a mess. It's a very complicated mess when it comes to the attitude of training for law enforcement, what the politics are, and what police officers have to deal with in reality, and what police officers have to deal with within the department. What are the politics within that department? Who's the person that they've assigned to be the head of their DT training? There's an awful lot that goes into it. And then you're dealing with unions, and you're dealing with culture, and you're dealing with you're someone who's not a police officer. And I'm sorry, but that is a factor. I've been around this enough to be intellectually honest about this. I'm not offended by that at all. But I'm not one of them. It's been made very clear to me when I'm training them, right? I just want to let you know it's a very, very complicated answer that we could spend months on answering.
And cops are fucking hard-headed. Go time.
I think that, I felt like I should be the person to say that since I'm not a police officer.
You summed it up well, too. Yeah.
But because I've been there, I am there. Like, I'm there a lot. I touch that, and I live with that. I live with that a lot. And it took me a while to sort of figure it out, and there's a lot of nuance that's involved with that. And it's going to vary from agency to agency and department to department, And I wouldn't take anything personally, and I would just let it be what it is until it has the opportunity to kind of, if you don't mind me saying, Angela, because I can tell you're sincere and your shit, for that to sort itself out, because that's a mess.
Yeah.
And it even happens inside the department.
Yes.
I mean, I was a competition shooter for years. I was like, the what I had to teach and what I believed and knew to be true and factual were worlds apart. And it's only been in the last 2-3 years that those two things have kind of come together. And that's with firearms training, right?
It still has a long way to go.
It still does, but at the same time, like inside of my department as an adjunct instructor, the amount of pushback that I got because, well, you went and trained with who? And they showed you what?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't apply here. I'm like, shooting fast and accurately.
And it's always trying to find the newest, best thing that's going to make them take shortcuts into being the best shooters ever. So that's why, like, a lot of law enforcement officers or departments are going towards red dots. And I'm like, yeah,
hey,
red dots are a good idea until you figure out you have to train with it.
I got the ultimate for that. I have a friend that implemented that at an agency. And I'm not anti-red dot, and I got to jump off in like 2 minutes. So, but I said, what do you do for training? He goes, we give our officers 400 rounds, 8 hours, like 3 hours of instruction on how to mount it, maintain it, this, that, and the other, 400 rounds to come out and certify with it one-on-one with an instructor. And I said, what's the results? Oh man, everybody's qualifying. And I go, okay, well, you had a shooting the other night. Did that involve a red dot? Yeah. I said, well, your guy fired 38 rounds, hit a bad guy one time. Is that the result you're looking for? I said, because qualifications, I said, let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave somebody 8 hours of one-on-one training with a firearms instructor and gave them 400 rounds of department ammo to do it? And he just blank stares.
Not only that, Brian, but just to add to that from the neuroscientific side of things, and apologize for geeking out.
Yeah.
It's not even close to enough time to reach any level of competence.
No.
Or myelination. It's like not even close.
And
it never is.
Myelination.
It never is.
So guy like myself, I mean, I shoot between 3,000 and 8,000 rounds a year between any number of platforms, right? When I put a red dot on a gun, I go, okay, there it is. That's what I have to modify. That's it. It's not a big curve, right? The average cop shoots maybe 150 rounds a year. So now you give him 400 rounds and one-on-one time with an instructor to work some of the kinks out, because they've already got a basic academy. They understand how the gun works. So, but we've had to implement this red dot thing just to get guys the amount of training they should already have. And that's what burns me down about the whole red dot thing is it's like
they can qual easier with the red dot.
There you go. And I go, and now I've had 3, and I said I'd never say this on something before, but I've had 3 people that I know that have been in shootings with red dots. You know what they all 3 have in common? None of them carry them anymore, but none of them will come out publicly and say, I don't carry one of those anymore, because of the legions of fanboys out there that will lambaste them. People that have never been in an operational shooting that will tell them how wrong they are for ditching that piece of equipment. So I'm like, I'm passionate about this, and I got no heartache with red dots, right? It's like, hey, it's a cool tool, whatever. But like you said, nobody trains to the level they need to have a level of proficiency to go be operational with that outside of like 1 or 2 military units. The dudes that do, it doesn't matter what gun you give them.
Right.
You could give them a bead-sighted shotgun and they're going to perform to a high level.
Amen.
So we've taken this piece of a gear and we've now crutched that into a training program that we're having qualification performance increases. And I go, in operational shootings, we're not seeing an increase. We're not seeing any discernible increase. So, you know, and that's where police work has a rub with me as well in my last few minutes here, is what do we use to quantify performance as success? To me, it's when bad guys take dirt naps because they deserved a dirt nap and they get the dirt nap, or they get shot to the point that they're no longer functional, instead of, well, we have qualifications and we're shooting 100% on our department. And I go, what's your field shootings look like? 13%, the national average.
Right.
So give me the data to show me an agency that has a red dot program, and let me see them breach that 13% operational shooting. And then let's look at their training and go, okay, yeah, there's something to be said for that. Because I know of agencies that don't authorize red dots that shoot 70+% in the field.
Okay. I was just going to ask what the percentage of accuracy was compared.
Nationally, it's about 12-13%.
Yeah.
And right now, I have seen no hard data that shows an operational shooting with a red dot has been more successful than any other.
That's sacrilege, Brian. That's sacrilege. You're not allowed.
Oh, yeah.
You're not allowed to
send up
say
a red
that,
flare.
Brian. You're not allowed to say that, Brian.
Here's the other part that bothers me, and this will be my final.
It's not the artist, right? It's the brush. It's not the artist. It's the brush.
Exactly. Here's the other part that bothers me is in 2018, I go to SHOT Show and every manufacturer out there has a red dot on their gun, has a red dot platform, right? So I asked one of the engineers who from a company that I won't mention, but it's very popular and starts with a G. But I said, dude, what's the big hubbub about all the red dot stuff? And he goes, dude, the gun industry's flat. You remember 2018, you could get on Grab a Gun and order an M&P 2.0 for $389 because they were setting, right?
With a rebate
and 10 free mags, right? Not now, but he said, gun industry's flat. So how do I get you to buy your favorite gun again?
Put a red dot on it.
Make it easier.
Make it do something else, right?
Yeah.
And I went, so that's what's driving this? And he goes, no, it's performance. And it's all this and it's adaptability and technology.
And that's why I showed this, because I can't show the full thing because YouTube would kill the feed. But you remember what I used to have on the back of here, right?
Yeah.
Took that shit the fuck off.
What? You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I took that. I thought I told you. I took that shit
because
off.
it has to be trained in a real world scenario. You got to train from the holster.
I got to bail out.
No,
Todd,
I have trained.
Angela,
not
Marquise,
you, Brian.
Mike.
We'll talk, Brian.
John.
Appreciate you, man.
I'll see y'all
Hey,
soon.
Brian, we'll see you at SHOT Show, bud.
Yeah, holler at me. Todd, are you going to be at SHOT?
Yeah, I hope to see you there, Brian. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, I'll be filming with Riley and Jacob and them.
Oh, cool.
So
cool. Yeah. I hope to set up a meetup. I'll only be there on Friday. I hope to set up a meetup at the NLT booth. So maybe we can meet up there.
Yeah, cool, man.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Brian.
Take care, Brian. You know, the red dot, I like it, but I always felt, I don't know, I'm slave to my irons. I just am. I'm sorry. I really am. And I know, Marquise, you've seen me shoot. You know,
Right. Yeah.
I didn't have a red dot when I was out there, you know. And there's always more things that we could, but I don't know. I just got this fear. Because one, I ain't going around, I'm not a cop anymore. So I ain't going around looking for operational shit to get into to prove the fucking red dot's gonna go. But my irons have never failed me. It just,
Yeah.
and I'm just talking about target shit, because in real stuff, you ain't looking at your irons, you just looking at the gun, just pointing, shoot like it's a big ass finger, you know.
Right.
So
right, but I've told you the same thing, and I've told everyone else. I'm like, I own one gun with a red dot. Okay, I own one gun with a red dot, and that's because someone had challenged me in a competition to learn how to shoot a red dot in 2 weeks to go do a competition. And it was that learning curve of trying to understand and notice that my draw was off because I was trying to look for the red dot. Yes. And that's when I noticed my inequities in my draw. But as I tell people all the time, I use a red dot to help me reconfigure where my draw is with irons.
Right.
Because it gives me the myelination of understanding of every time I draw this gun, where is it? Where is it? If I got to draw this gun and go.
Well, not only that, the eye scan research, you know, where your eye's going to go, depending on what the distance is and how fluid and dynamic the circumstances are, is a whole nother factor.
Exactly.
Your brain isn't your eyes are your brain. They're just an extension of your brain that extend from your body, right? So your eyes are going to fixate. If you're in close range and it's a highly dynamic situation, your eyes are going to fixate on the threat.
Right.
Yep. The chances of you seeing that red dot or seeing your sights consciously under those circumstances is almost zero. I'm not suggesting point shooting, but understanding how to have a flash sight picture. And what I suggest would be to have a good kinesthetic, natural point of aim.
Right.
Right. So you have all of those things working for you under extreme stress and compressed time to increase your chances of success. Right. It's a very different set of circumstances, how your brain is processing there versus when you're running a course of fire during a competition. Those two things are those. You know, I'm really into motor science, right, and motor learning science, and the training. The research shows that your training should be as specific as possible to what you're actually dealing with.
Yes.
And so I think my opinion is that we should take an approach that, you know, defaults to those types of circumstances, because those are the most dangerous circumstances.
Yeah. You're 1,000% correct. I remember a time when I had just started out as a police firearms instructor. Not going to say what year, because then people start being able to do research and figuring out the department and shit. But when I had just gotten certified, I had went over to a neighboring department, and a more senior firearms instructor who definitely has had a lot of experience, verifiable experience too. He was like, you know what? You're going to bring your guys over to qualify? Cool. I'm going to run you guys to the FBI course. I was like, what the fuck is that? Matter of fact, don't tell me. Put me through that shit. And so as soon as he put me through the FBI course, I was like, fuck yes, this is what we doing. Got it. Guess what the failure rate was? Shot through the fucking roof. And so I brought it to the chief. And I still retain the emails to this day. Brought it to the chief, and the chief was like, well, we don't train like that. It has to make dollars and cents too. So let's go ahead and put it through the regular course of fire, where they're shooting 8.5 by 11 and shoot a little box. And then they get to go ahead and go from 5 to 10 to 15, and then just a few shots at 21. And then that's that. Okay. And I'm like, I had a big argument with him. And I was like, I really just check the box. All it was, just check the box. You know, even if you looked at Derek Chauvin's training, not his training, but during his trial, how the chief took the stand and testified all that shit against Derek. And then when asked by Chauvin's defense attorney, well, when was the last time you had patrolled the streets? Oh, it's been many years. When is the last time you've done it? It's been many years. When you got his lieutenant, well, when's the last time you did anything? 1991. I said, so right after OJ killed Nicole, that's when, by God, you decided you just wanted to hang the shit up and become a fucking lieutenant. That's what he tried to do. He said, so you ain't did shit since the OJ chase. You were on the streets during the OJ chase, and after that just said this was just too much for me. The slow speed was not enough. Fuck it. You know, it's just and the policymakers are these guys.
Yep.
These guys. So when shit's rapidly evolving, you're just
Yep.
finding out, oh shit, Cavassier tastes different in this glass there. What the fuck? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I just gotta say something quick. I gotta hop off.
Yeah, we all do actually.
But I just want to say thank you guys so much. Brian, thank you so much for having me on, man. I appreciate you guys. I hope that or John, sorry, I said Brian.
Like, what?
Sorry, I was thinking of Brian Eastridge. John, thanks
Yeah.
so much for the invite. It's been an honor to be here with you all so much.
Yes, for sure.
KD, I hope we get a chance to talk with you more someday in the future. If you guys are at SHOT Show, I'd love to hook up and see you. Hopefully, if not, hopefully I'll see you at John's seminar. Angela, keep up all the awesome work. I look forward to seeing you again too.
Yes. Thank you,
you,
Todd. Thank you for your contribution. I appreciate
Thank you guys so much. You guys
Yes,
take
sir.
care. Be well.
Take care, buddy.
Bye.
All right now. All right. Hey, we're at the 2-hour mark. Y'all want to keep going? Fuck it. It's up to y'all. Okay.
Hey, well, I'm about to get up. I got a load to pick up in the morning.
Oh,
I'll be
take
talking to you bright and early.
looking like you about to qualify for the Crips.
Hey,
I'm about to say, they're like he about to start singing that Donnell Jones.
Right.
Oh,
Where I
I
wanna be.
Ooh, say what? Say what? Say what?
I'll be on the road, Mike. So you make sure you got your phone on in the morning.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
Because
For sure. I got you.
KD over there look like some. I left my baby girl a message saying I won't be coming home. I'd rather be alone.
Got your crib walking.
He doesn't fully understand me
Come on, keep going.
because I'd rather leave.
Looking like Aladdin. Looking like fucking Aladdin shit.
Oh wow! Really? Like the genie?
Hey, that's what I meant to say. I
How
fucking
about you ain't never had a friend like me? What?
Right. No, it's been a long week, bro. It's been a long week. It started off a long week on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this Omarion and all this other stuff.
That's what it's called. Oh my God, he putting people's plans where ice boxes used to be.
Hey, his ice boxes has hit many, and it actually came to my doorstep. My son is positive.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so it's just
He might got the flu though.
Hey, it's the flu
hey,
Rona.
you know what, Marquise? I've argued back and forth about what it could, should, would, and all that other stuff. He's asymptomatic, so that's a good but bad thing. So right now it's just pretty much I know where it came from, I know how it happened and everything. So it's just one of them things. It's like if people will listen to me, then we'd be all right. You know what I'm saying? One of those things.
It ain't the hookers and cocaine, right?
And that. Stop it, Mike. Stop. Stop. But yeah, it's just one of the things that, you know, none of this stuff makes sense to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. None of it makes sense. And they can't make it make sense in no kind of way, shape, form, or fashion. So
Yeah.
it's just I gotta tell people, man, be safe. One thing that I've noticed that a lot of stores have done also, when this first came out, man, the moment you put in your credit card number, they spray it down, wipe it down, the whole 9 yards. Man, all that cleaning that went out the window, bro. And the less they're cleaning, the more these numbers are going up. You know, nothing is being sanitized no more. If you guys got an opportunity,
on it.
Go to Office Max. Office Max got big bottles of hand sanitizer, 25 cents. I bought like stuff. You know, something.
I've been telling people that because one of my buddies, he ended up getting the Rona, and I believe he got it from the gym. And I told him, I was like, listen, you gotta wipe down that equipment before you use it and after you use it. Because I didn't stop going to the gym when Rona happened. I'm like, I just wipe shit down a lot more thoroughly and then when you wipe it down, and it looks trifling, I ain't gonna lie to you. I go to the gym, I grab one of their towels, I grab their sanitizer, spray that towel down, and wipe shit down. The towel comes out black and brown, and it's like, dude, this is literally what you're touching every time you go to the gym if you don't wipe it down first.
And you got to think, Marquise, even though you wiped it down, dude, you only got surface dirt.
Right.
That's decades of dirt is caked up on it. Like I say, a lot of people have, you know, even with Uncle Lori's new protocol. You got to show your vaccination card to get into a restaurant. This, that, and that. Like, come on, man, make it make sense. Like, just make it make sense. You know, the practices. They have one country that I've looked up that I've been looking at for a while, Taiwan. They've had 6 deaths of COVID. 6. Yeah, Uncle Lori. Yeah, know Baby Harold, Uncle Lori, Lil Mo. Man, he go by many.
Beetlejuice.
Man, Beetlejuice. They got a picture.
Lil Mo.
Beetlejuice and he had a baby, and it was Uncle Lori. So you know, it's like one of the things that, like, they're not making it make sense for the American people. And Taiwan has 6 deaths from corona, and people ask, well, why are our numbers so high? Because we're the country that believes that we got rights to do whatever the hell we want to do, when we want to do them, how we want to do them. And as long as we got those rights to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do them, it's just going to be this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the new way of living, the new corona flu, whatever you want to call it. I'm just so over it. It's time for me to go ahead and pack up and buy me an island and get the hell up out of Dodge.
Yeah, and like I said, you got to look at the countries and how they're dealing with it. You got other countries that have pretty much corona fines that if you don't get the vaccine, you got to pay this much per month. And if you don't, we're going to start confiscating stuff. Or if you don't get the vaccine passport. It's really coming to the point now.
I don't know what's going on. He's stuck. Can y'all hear him?
Who?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't hear nothing. He's stuck. There you go.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hear him. It blocked out on him.
Oh, okay.
I probably got Prime Code service. You know what I'm saying?
Using your
I think the problem is that the data that's coming out with all the vaccines is the vaccine is not what people would lend to the thought of a vaccine being, which is preventative. It is not. It is a buffer.
It's a treatment.
Man, you know what? I was just talking to my sister. She's an ER nurse.
Y'all about to get this live stream killed.
I said, getting a vaccine is like with a sheepskin condom. It'll stop you from getting pregnant, but you may get everything else. It's just one of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, if you really think about it, bro, that's all it's going to do. You know, I think the government gave us out a false sense of security. Or not us, because I ain't believe it crap no way, but they gave out a false sense of false security blanket as to what it was supposed to do. And still to this day, it doesn't make sense that you're only testing those that have gotten stuck. Wrap it up. Got my red light on. Okay.
Hey, no, hold up. Hey, Outdoors with Wolf. Text us real quick where state you're in. Keep going, Kitty.
Well, what I'm saying is, I don't want the feed to get killed.
He's talking about the topic of discussion.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Yeah. So it's just one of them things. Like I said, be safe out there, man. Y'all wash down stuff, mask up, wash, sanitize, wash. Anybody got any sales on that stuff that kills all that stuff? Let me know. I'm bad at all. I'm sorry, I'm bad at all.
Yeah.
Make sure you drink tea with elderberry. It's good for your lungs and it's good for your immune system.
Yeah,
and lick doorknobs.
And stay walking.
Yeah.
And lick doorknobs.
What?
Yeah.
And stay walking. Too many people are getting fluid build up in their lungs because they're sitting on their ass because they feel like shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And lick
I'm
doorknobs.
totally sitting on my ass. I totally sat on my ass for like 3 days.
Drink
I think I slept more than I was awake. I think I slept for like 20 hours the other day.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
And it's not so much this variant, because this variant isn't nowhere near as bad as the beginning one. The beginning one was the huge one where if you stayed walking, you know what I mean, and kept the blood flow and the oxygen flowing, you know what I mean, people had less issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like my one daughter, you know what I mean, down in Arkansas, you know what I mean, the second that she got it, you know what I mean, we were told that you need to get out there and walk, you know what I mean, and her crazy ass was still out there walking 2 miles a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I gotta work out. I go crazy.
She was up and over it quick as hell.
Yeah.
She still didn't have her taste of like her sense of taste and smell for a while, but the actual sick side effects from it were gone within days.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, I feel like this, and we're gonna change subject because again, we ain't trying to get the feed cut.
Yep.
Is that taking care of yourself and taking vitamins, your vitamin C, your vitamin D, hydrating, exercise. You know, luckily, I ain't gonna say luckily, damn man, I've been blessed and I've taken care of myself. I have never had it.
Yeah.
I ain't never had a symptom of it. I ain't never been exposed. I might have been. My wife had it, and I was exposed to it with her, and I still didn't get it. So for me, the blessing was, what was my workout regimen? What was my eating habits? What were my vitamins? What was I taking? What was I doing? Did I have vitamin C? Did I have vitamin D? Was I going out to get sunlight? Was I going to the gym? Yes.
Right.
I stayed my ass healthy to avoid the shit.
I think my luck was that I got super sick when I was in China back in 2016. So I'm immune to mostly everything.
Sounds accurate. Sounds very accurate.
Yeah.
Hey, Outdoors with Wolf, I'm very sorry for your location. I'm so sorry.
That's why I stopped talking. When he said he was in Washington, I was trying to offer an instructor course for him, but you in Washington, bro.
Washington
State?
Washington State, yeah.
Yeah, Washington State.
Last thing before everybody does their outros and stuff like that. If you live in Chicago or in Illinois, but especially if you live in Chicago, I recommend you get one of these type of safes. Okay. Why do you want to get one of these kind of safes? Chicago police are popping off a lot of people because you're coming from the range and you're coming from the range and you have your firearm, and some of you are forgetting to unload your firearm so that you can comply with the FOID card act. You're going to get your FOID card first before, well, you know what? The law has changed, right? But the FOID card and the concealed carry license now look the same. It just has a CCL on it. But if you get the FOID card, which you'll probably get before you get the CCL, I don't know how they're going to work. It's some weird, stupid ass law, but whatever it is, right? If all you get is a FOID card until everybody comes into compliance with this stuff, right? I understand you could be in a rush. I understand you could be forgetting, whatever the case may be, whether the gun is loaded or unloaded. Now, the law says it's supposed to be unloaded, encased, or not immediately accessible. Okay. Not unloaded, encased, or not immediately accessible. Okay. So I would suggest you put your type of firearm in a box like this. This does have a TSA key. You don't have a TSA key. Okay. The police are not supposed to have a TSA key. Only TSA is supposed to have that key. And you can have any one of these combinations, whatever your combination is. You need to build a stress inoculated practice of putting that code in, whatever the case may be. But notice it has no key, right? You don't want to have it to where it has a key because it could easily take the keys from you. And I'm not saying all police officers are good, all police officers are bad. I'm just telling you, right? This box does not look like it's a gun box. It could have anything inside of here, okay? And so you want to put the firearm in here, be it unloaded or loaded. It should be unloaded, right? But let's just say you forget, you're in a rush. Put that shit in some place where it doesn't look like it's a gun in here, and they would have to articulate why this is a gun. This is locked. You cannot get to it without putting in a code, okay? I hate to tell you, people are getting popped left and right and getting charged with aggravated UUW. If you listen to bond court, that is one of the most heaviest tried cases in bond court now. 9 times out of 10 is aggravated UUW, and that's because you are not understanding the law, or either you are understanding the law, but you are in a rush, not paying attention, and next thing you know, you get popped on a mistake, which was honestly a mistake, but you did not comply with the law. Throw your shit in this box, keep it out of reach, and you should be good enough to go, okay? So that even if they pull this, they're going to have to articulate what the fuck is in here, because this doesn't look like a gun. Nothing on here says it's a gun. It could be anything in here. They're going to have to articulate that. Even if they watch my video, they can't sit here and say, well, it's possible it could be a gun in there. Nothing on here says it's a gun. Okay? That's my son.
Yeah, but now I got to bring the canine since you won't tell me what's in there.
You ain't gonna yeah. Okay, good luck.
You go sniff shit.
Bring Cujo.
Yeah.
Mr. Slick, I depends on the class I'm teaching.
Yeah.
I want to come take y'all's classes so bad. When I'm off of the Rona, I gotta make my way up there.
No, you need to be off the Rona, come in this bad boy with a biohazard suit. You talk about Illinois, you might get Rona like literally when you step off the plane.
Yeah.
It's
Let Illinois tell you, you get Rona from breathing oxygen.
What
What's
temperature?
going on?
Like, it's mad cold there, isn't it? It's mad cold.
Yeah.
No, it's not even that. It's just the fact that the numbers are inflated. That's all.
Well, I just came from DC, and DC numbers is like,
and see,
got it.
All right, y'all. Just do your thing. Say your things. Marquise.
All right, so yeah, great night tonight. Great night tonight, guys. As
awesome.
far as obviously, again, I'm with Guardian Concepts as it's displayed up there as always. Next classes we got coming up. I do have a CCL class this weekend. But probably the biggest ones, obviously Todd Fossey was in here earlier. I'm hosting a seminar with him on February 5th. He is coming down here to the Chicagoland area from Minnesota. We're going to host a full day weapons-based combative seminar based around the CCL holder. In holster out retention, out of holster retention, weapons-based clinch fighting, wall work. It's going to be a full day class, and so that's awesome. So we're going to have him on Saturday, February 5th, and then February 6th we're hosting another TECC certification class. For those who don't know, that's Tactical Emergency Casualty Care, kind of a tactically based stop the bleed class. What's awesome with that is obviously it's a great class in itself, but with our local tragedy that we've had going on here with the Sergeant Marlene Ripmanick, Bradley police officer that just got shot and killed, we're actually offering that class free of charge to all of the local departments, Bourbonnais, Bradley, Kankakee, and the sheriffs. Not to say that they don't already have the training, but you know what I mean, great refresher. If they don't have the training, then they come out and get the certification. If they do have the certification, they can come out and you know what I mean, refresh the certification. So that's our big things. We will be in SHOT Show in about a week and a half. So depending on if we go live next week or not, and during SHOT Show week, if everything goes right, if we go live that week, I'll jump on and kind of give everyone an update on what's going on at SHOT Show.
Really nice.
And then, yeah, that's about all I got. If you guys are interested in the classes, obviously reach out. You go on Facebook, Guardian Concepts LLC, or website is guardian-concepts.com.
So, Marquise and the Hazel.
Oh, bet. So once again, Marquise Miranda with P6 Firearms Training, based out of Orland Park, but we travel everywhere. We teach everywhere. We go everywhere. We do defensive courses. We do the concealed carry courses. We do knife courses. We do, coming soon, covert carry courses, as well as RSO course coming up January 22nd. For those of you who are interested in becoming RSOs for maybe a local gun range, maybe you have a buddy that's an instructor that you want to go help out. Again, there's nothing wrong with getting that certification and being educated on the right way to be a range safety officer.
Yes.
Again, just because it looks good in them pants doesn't mean you should pay that much attention to people.
Hell.
I'm just saying RSOs.
Yeah.
So January 22nd, that will be at Concealed Carry Institute in Matson.
Outstanding. And Angie.
Me. Well, I don't have anything coming up at this moment, the grown up, but within the next couple of months, I am hopefully getting together with some gentlemen up in the Poconos. We're going to be running a weekend somewhat retreat, and it's firearms combatives, and we're trying to kind of gear it eventually for stunt people. So we're going to have like fight choreography and stuff like that, which would be really cool, and falls and stuff like that. But it's going to be, there's outdoor ranges, which is really cool. And we have rifle ranges, and you can run and gun. We'll be running and gunning a lot. And then we have, it's like this huge mansion type thing. It's pretty cool. There's like an indoor pool and all this stuff, and there's a huge gymnasium. So, and then they cater it as well. So we'll probably get there on a Friday evening, spend the night, Saturday wake up. We'll be training all day long, and they provide three meals, and then go to sleep. And Sunday, we could probably train a little bit more, and then everyone rolls out. What's so funny, Mike?
They were looking at what I was doing.
Oh.
He's playing with stuff.
Hey-oh. That's it.
But it'll be really. I think it'll be really dope. And again, it's in the Poconos, and it's at Double Eagle, and those guys up there are amazing. And Marquise, I think you know some of the gentlemen who train there frequently. I won't name names, but yeah, there's some like American heroes. They're really cool. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. And
I just can't believe it's in Pennsylvania. Like, what the hell? I gotta look at the gun laws in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, you need your Florida CCL in order to carry there.
Well, I got that too, but I mean, Florida, Utah, and Illinois. I'm just trying to figure out again what's their gun laws.
Oh yeah, no, I mean that I get. I'm just making sure because some people don't realize that Illinois doesn't qualify for Pennsylvania.
Right, because I got to fly to Colorado, but the thing is that because I'm going through TSA to bring my firearms, I don't have to deal with local PD based on the fact that I'm training with local PD.
Yeah.
So that's what I look at is me getting the firearm to that state because there's like a couple states I won't travel to. One of them is Connecticut.
Yes.
Because they don't believe in self-defense, even if you're outnumbered.
Mm-hmm.
You got to run.
That sounds like California.
No, at least in California, you can actually shoot the person. In self-defense in Connecticut, a young man was jumped by 3 people. He used a knife. He served 18 months in jail. He was jumped by 3 people, though.
Wow. So I'm not even surprised. I don't even know why I'm acting like I'm surprised. I'm not surprised anymore.
Yep. So that's why, I tell people, look at your states, look where you're going, look up the laws for that state. Like even New Jersey, every hollow point in your gun, every hollow point in your gun is a felony for New Jersey. For New Jersey?
Oh yeah, Jersey.
Yeah, every hollow point is a felony. And some of us carry 37 rounds with another magazine of 19.
Yep, that's it.
I'll be under the jail.
Yeah.
Well, Pennsylvania, you're good. Just come on.
Just send me the dates. Let me know.
I will. I will.
Yeah, if it's during my daughter's graduation, you're screwed.
That's it. Family
That'll
matters.
be June. Isn't that June?
Yeah, hers is actually on her birthday. I'm actually very proud of her.
It'll be prior to June.
We gotta call Megan and find out where she is.
Yeah, we gotta call Megan.
Yeah.
Who's
all right.
Megan?
And yeah. All right. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Yeah, you guys know MikeBrownsClass.com. Yay. Okay. Come back next Wednesday. 21 guys that were still here watching, fluctuate between 21 25. Back every Wednesday. Today was a great show. It really was. Thanks to Todd for coming in. Thanks to Brian Easteridge. Always, friends of the show, stuff like that. You all get some good sleep and make sure that you're sanitizing everything down. I'm not gonna speak too much on that topic, but just do your part to keep things clean.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
We'll just go there. Just keep things clean.
Make sure you lick between your fingers.
Hey, listen. Yes, JFB. Yes, I do have new books. You can go to my website, MikeBrownsClass.com. I'm sorry, MikeBrownsBooks.com, MikeBrownsBooks.com, or you could call me. I don't care. You don't call me now. Don't do that shit. 773-644-5000, 773-644-5000. I'll ship the books directly to you. I definitely got some new books and some new journals. I'm very proud. I gotta say this. I found the energy to be able to say this, but I have a group that's starting with parents and children where we are talking about parenting, the journals and things like that I have. Let me pull them. They're right here. All about it's called the All About Children workshops. And what I'm having parents and children actually start to do is actually start to bond over the things that they actually teach their children. Like this is called What I Teach My Children Daily, my daily journal. And then the children have one where it's, I got to pull it out of here. Good. What my parents teach me daily, right? And so whatever lesson you're teaching them, take some time out, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. We say we're so busy, but we make time to fuck. I said it. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And if we make time for the shit that we want, we can make time to teach these children. So
look at that time right there.
That's it. Look at the time. Look at the time. About to hit it. Here we go. But during that, right? The first page is called the table of lessons. Okay. And then after this is 31 lines, right? Date, lesson, title, page. And then inside of that, what did my parents teach me? Right? Here we go. In your journal. Here we go. What did I teach my children? Right? And so you both are documenting. And then after you get through, as you can see, I've done mine, right? So as you're documenting, right? I got to finish this one. But as you're documenting, when you're done, you two switch. So your child knows what you're thinking. You know what your child's thinking. And they can really see that you're vesting your interest into them and what you're teaching them and what they're learning. And then they're signing every day. Just imagine 31 lessons in one day, 31 short lessons. A habit is built when you are doing the right thing, be it short or long, over a period of time. Consistency. Does that make sense, Marquise?
For shizzle.
Consistency, right? Habit, right? Habit. The more you continue to do it, the more the children begin to expect it because you're showing them that they belong to you and you belong to them. Your children can hold you accountable. You hold your children accountable. And that's how you build a fostering, loving relationship where they know they can come to you because you taught them a lot. They often say there is no manual for parenting. Well, that's because you ain't seen yourself as a teacher and you haven't started to do the things that just imagine as they grow up, they're stacking journal on top of journal. So then when they mess up in class or someplace else, you don't have to beat their ass. You can just sit there and say, go sit in the corner, look at them journals, write me a 10-page paper about what you learned out of those journals. I'm just saying, you can make the punishments, right, more real and intense, something that helps them learn, right? You can get some value out of that because they need to be refreshed on this stuff too. All of us on this stage and those who left, we all got curriculum. We got tests. We have been tried, often tried, never denied, willing to constantly be. We get tried all the time. Every time we teach a class, we're getting tried by our students. And it's very reaffirming. Professional instructors, it is reaffirming when we teach what we know. Because to see Marquise learn something new, to see John learn something new, Angela, me, KD, even Brian and Todd, and anybody that comes in this platform, right? I don't invite suckers. I'm sorry, I use the 60s term. Want to invite suckers, but the suckers need to learn. Some of you all in the comments was like, well, I want to be an instructor. This is it. This is where you start by aligning yourself with people who are forward thinkers, who can think outside the box and not afraid to, like Marquise said, if you fuck up, own your shit. Own your shit.
Yep. Own it.
So I'm excited.
Own it, boo-boo.
Yeah. I'm excited about the group that starts tomorrow. If you guys got parents and you want to, or not got parents, if you got kids and your parents and you want to be a part of it, it's by Zoom, it's virtual. And so just hit me up, 773-644-5000. So I'll come back to you all next Wednesday with a report on how that worked, because I got a lot of ladies that have signed themselves up for this program and they want their sons to be better. And it's great. It's great. So I'm really passionate about that. Okay. Because none of us want to have to shoot somebody else's son who became that way because of some other shit.
At least not with a bullet, maybe a tranquilizer dart.
Or even Right. Or even the closest thing you could find was a tampon out your purse because you couldn't grab the gun fast and you threw it thinking that it was a gun and it hit him. But it wasn't one that was applied. It was one that was just there because that's all you had. Remember, I told you, forgiving techniques, right? I had to end it on a fucked up note, right? And look at Angela's face like, Mike, where are you going with this?
I was lost in tampon. We like I would at least say I would at least say the maxi so you can fling it and it's like a little ninja star.
There you go, Angela. That's what I was trying
for that one.
William asked. That's what I'm trying not to say. I'm glad William said it and not me. All right, y'all.
Tampon.
Jesus Christ, that was out. All right, we this is a long show, and we at the 2 hour 34-minute mark. All right,
you all. The shocker. What are you throwing up, Marquis?
Peace.
Oh,
like the hang up so we can like go eat.
That's what I'm doing now. Bye, y'all.
Yeah.
Come back next week.